WEBULL, Webull, or visit Webull.com.
Webull Financial LLC, member SIPC FINRA. Investing involves risk. For more information, visit Webull.com/disclosures.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's been weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Wait until it's too late. Could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Simply put,
there aren't rivals. There's backup plans.
nobody on the dial has more star power.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Grant Napear, welcome home.
Love that you are with us here.
Dan Patrick.
6 to 9 a.m.
Colin Cowherd.
Right after Dan Patrick.
And Grant Napear.
Oh, we got the big dog in Sacramento.
There's only one sports station in Sacramento, and you're listening to it.
104.7.
Be sure and download the Fox Sports KSAC app.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Tell your friends.
Grant's back!
Grant Napear is back on the Sacramento airwaves right here. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst. K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
Hello!
Hello, Sacramento.
Sacktown!
And welcome in.
Grant Napear.
How you been?
You know this guy.
It's your show.
So happy to hear you on the airwaves.
Time to begin.
2+ decades on the radio with you.
Just the start of an incredible journey.
Now he's back on Fox Sports 104.7 FM and 890 AM.
3 to 6 every day, Fox Sports Sacramento.
The phone number?
916-779-0929.
His name? Grant Napear.
And a good afternoon, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend. We get you settled in here on Fox Sports Sacramento. If you were at the Kings game last night, I honestly believe that you all deserve a refund. That's right. You should have your money returned to you because you didn't see a real NBA game. You saw a game that was sanctioned by the NBA. And with the exception of maybe DeMar DeRozan, and I don't mean to undermine any of the players that were on the floor, but last night was an embarrassment for the NBA. It's everything that is wrong with the NBA. It is Exhibit A of tanking in the NBA. And it's not the players that are on the court. If you watched the game or if you were one of the few people that attended the game, you didn't have a problem with the effort of the players on the floor. You had a problem with the players that were on the bench in street clothes and not on the floor. And that is the biggest misconception about tanking. The players that play don't give a damn about tanking. They don't care. They don't care what the draft pick's going to be the following year. They don't talk about it. They don't think about it. It is a non-issue to the players that are on the floor. It is management that doesn't play Russell Westbrook because he's sore, or Malik Monk because his ankle is sore. And we can go right on down the list for both teams. That's the biggest problem with the NBA right now. And absolutely disgraceful. Disgraceful. There's just no other way to say it. Disgraceful. And if you were at the game last night and there weren't many people there, you really should be compensated. You really should. That should be a game that is free of admission or free concessions or something to thank you, okay? Thank you for your support of a game that really was not an NBA game. And then you can get to the fact that the Kings are winning now at a time of the year where, as a fan, you would assume or you would like for them to lose. And this is a very dicey situation. Because, as I said, the players that play don't want to lose. They want to compete. They're playing for their NBA lives. They're playing for their future, whether it's here in Sacramento or one of the other 29 teams. So they're going to go out and they're going to play hard. And while we're talking about playing hard, you have to just give a big pat on the back for DeMar DeRozan, who is out there and competing as if it's Game 7 in the NBA Finals. So I don't know about you, but I appreciate that. And his performance last night was sensational. It was stellar. And his effort is stellar. And he should be applauded. Although the fact that we have to applaud an entertainer, an athlete for doing the job is a sad state of the times that we live in, but that's the times that we live in. You wouldn't really want to have to applaud the actors for showing up to work on Broadway. That's their job. You really shouldn't have to applaud an athlete showing up and playing because that's their job. I mean, do you applaud me for coming on the radio every day? Do I applaud you for getting up at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning and commuting to work, regardless of what your occupation is? Do I applaud you for going to school every day and trying to get an education? No, because that's what is expected of you, and that's what you expect of me, and that's what I expect of my athletes when I pay whatever the cost of the ticket is to go watch them. I expect them to perform because they are professionals, and that is their job. When they sign their contract, they don't sign a contract that says they only have to play in 2/3 of the games. So the fact that I even have to say or single out DeMar DeRozan's professionalism tells you everything you need to know about where we are in 2026, particularly when it comes to the NBA. I follow hockey. I'm a big hockey fan. This is never talked about in the NHL. You know why? It doesn't exist. The culture doesn't exist. It's not part of their sport. It's just not. And yet in the NBA, it's talked about every single day. So the fact that I got to come on the radio at 3 o'clock after a meaningless game between Sacramento and Utah, or at least meaningless from the sense that neither team's going to the post game or the post season, I shouldn't have to compliment DeMar DeRozan. I shouldn't have to point out what a tremendous professional he is and the fact that he's only missed one game. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. because that's what he's supposed to do. That's his job. And he's getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars every game to do his job. So I kind of have mixed emotions. But when I look at how many players did not play, and I'm looking in the middle of the game, during a timeout, I'm looking at Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook, and the Jazz coach, Will Hardy, in a long conversation with Westbrook and Love smiling and laughing, former teammates at UCLA, in the middle of the game. Really? In the middle of the game? It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. It's just a joke. But the Kings win, and this is not the time of the year you want to win, but I can't fault the players. And Doug Christie was asked about tanking. This is what he had to say.
First of all, I don't really read all that stuff. So unless you guys ask me, I don't really, I'm not really worried about that. I mean, if you know me, like tanking is the last thing that I respect the game too much. As I told you, these young men, in my opinion, when you do things like that, it hurts them, because then when you ask them to give it for you, then it's like, well, you've just jeopardized it. So where are we at with it? So I'm always like, we full speed ahead on trying to be the best version of ourselves. And from night to night, it's going to be different, and it hasn't been exactly what we wanted, but I see a lot of growth in them from the young players, also from our veterans, with the trust that they show in them and the conversations that they have with them and all the things. Like, it's a process, and we're on it. And as long as we continue to improve as individuals, and then the collective just gets better as a byproduct.
Doug Christie talking about tanking, and that he doesn't ever go into a game to do anything other than win. From the 209, and you can send me a message at 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. You can use that number to call the show, or you can use that number to text the show. And on the text line, hey, Grant, you're 100% correct. Last night was an embarrassment to pro sports. Fans and people in the media whining about the Kings winning the game. Double embarrassment. That is from Daniel. Here's one, and I want to get into this before I talk about an event that I watched before the Kings game last night that was sensational. Said, why is the NBA adding 2 more teams with the product being so watered down? Fix the draft before adding 2 more potential bad teams. I'll tell you why. Because as Sham Sharani and others are reporting, the expansion fee, you ready for this, is going to be anywhere from $7 to $10 billion. Guess where that money goes? It is split evenly among the 30 owners. So if you are an owner of an NBA team, you don't give a damn if your product is watered down or not, if an expansion fee is going to add $7 to $10 billion split 30 ways. So let's say it's $15 billion. Really? Split 30 ways? Yeah. You just answered your own question. All right? That's why. All right, I wanted to talk about what I did yesterday for a couple of hours, which I haven't done with the exception of this past year's World Series. I did something that I haven't done in a long time. I watched every single pitch of a baseball game. The World Baseball Classic played in Miami last night between the United States and the Dominican Republic was everything that I love about baseball and that I have really missed about baseball. The crowd in South Florida was electric. It was incredible. It was an atmosphere that is as good as you can have in a baseball stadium. It was great. The competitiveness between the United States and the Dominican Republic was a 10 plus plus. The pitching, the defense, a 10 plus plus plus. The running of the base paths with effort, not always the smartest decision, such as Tatis trying to make an extra base when he didn't have to. He could have stopped at second. Aaron Judge with a dart from right field to nail Tatis trying to take the extra base. The great catch to rob Aaron Judge of a home run. We can go on and on. It was baseball played the way I remember the game being played on a fairly regular basis. Fundamentals, grit, passion, taking the extra pitch, doing anything in your power to get on base. It was a phenomenal spectacle last night. And this is for someone that has been lukewarm on the World Baseball Classic. I've been lukewarm on baseball. I thought the World Series last year was maybe the best World Series that I have watched, but I didn't watch every game. I'm really happy that I devoted a couple of hours of my day to watching that game last night in Miami. It was incredible. And I'm very happy that I invested my time. And I'm not sure if I'll see a baseball game like that for many, many months. So I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I thought it was sensational. And I don't very often talk about baseball and sensational in the same sentence. Last night was sensational. It was great. And it was very unfortunate the way the game ended on a 3-2 count with a runner on first, or excuse me, a runner on third, 2 out, Miller's pitching, a breaking ball that was down in the zone, called a strike 3, and instead of runners on the corners with, again, Tatis coming up next, they rung him up on strikes on a ball that was below the zone. It's unfortunate to have a game like that end on an incorrect call on the plate. Now, was it close? Listen, it wasn't an egregious, horrible call, but it was a ball, and clearly you could tell it was a ball, and the replays back that up. All right? The catcher framed the ball. It's not easy for the umpire. Again, it wasn't like it missed by a lot, but it was clearly a ball. And in that situation, in the magnitude of that game and for what that meant, it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate that the game ended that way, because it would have been really exciting to see runners on the corners with Fernando Tatis coming up, 2 outs, Miller on the hill, who throws over 100 miles an hour. That would have been a heck of a way to continue on with the World Baseball Classic. But I don't know if you watched the game like I did. That was great. That was great. And then you watch the Kings and the Jazz, and that's not great. It's just not. And the NBA can talk all they want, and Adam Silver can talk all he wants, and he can find a team 100,000 and another team 500,000. You know what? Until you start taking away draft picks, okay? Until you start taking away draft picks, you're going to have games like last night. And if you really want to prevent games like last night, where you have Malik Monk on the floor, where you have Russell Westbrook on the floor, and I'm not even going to talk about the Jazz, all right? When you have players that are on the floor, that should be on the floor, that aren't on the floor, because the organization is coming up with some absurd, ridiculous notion that they're sore, that's the problem. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And every single person that was at that game last night should have had their money refunded. Every person. 916-779-0929. That's 916-779-0929. This text message from the 530, actually from the 916, I beg your pardon. If the Kings were a competent organization, they would have bought out DeRozan after the trade deadline to preserve their draft positioning and let him play for a playoff team. But instead, they are allowing him to wreck our draft pick and will buy him out in the offseason instead, completely incompetent. You know, I don't really agree with that. I don't agree with that. Listen, DeMar DeRozan is a member of the Sacramento Kings and he has a contract. I'm not one that says he deserves to play for a winning team. Like, who says that? Who makes up those rules that of all the 30 teams in the NBA, when you're good, you deserve to play for a winning franchise? Where does it say that? Like, why? Why does he deserve that? Now, you might say he's earned that, and I might say, okay, but does he deserve that? I've never been like, he deserves that. I would like to see him play on a good team. Like, that would make me happy. But I don't know about that. I really don't. Grant, not to mention Tatis and Miller are teammates now. So it would have added to the drama. I didn't even think about that. You're exactly right. It's a good one right there. Let's get to Jimmy. He'll be our leadoff man today. Jimmy, go ahead. What's happening?
Hey, Grant. You think Doug will be back next season with the Kings?
I do not.
Why not? I think he's, you know what? I mean, it's not his fault. And Doug Christie screams Sacramento, and I think he's Mr. Sacramento. I like it.
So what? There are a lot of Mr. Sacramentos. I mean, Mike Bibby's Mr. Sacramento. Bobby Jackson's Mr. Sacramento. Scott Pollard is Mr. Sacramento. There are a lot of Mr. Sacramentos. Okay. That doesn't mean that you should be a coach of a professional franchise just because you love the city. I mean, I think that we need to remove the emotion. Just like when Vladdy Divac was the general manager and he has his jersey hanging in the rafters and he was fired. I mean, I disagree with you. I don't think Doug. Go ahead.
And you didn't think he should have been fired. But yet you think Doug's that bad? Is it a personal thing with you and Doug?
You know what? Vladdy had enough time to change the direction of the team and was unable to do it. I, however, was in a position of seeing things that went on when Vladdy was the general manager that would make your eyes roll in your head with the interference that came from the owner. So let's leave that on the back burner for right now. Here's what I've said about Doug Christie. You are 100% correct. He is Mr. Sacramento in terms of his love for the community. I know Doug much better than you do because I spent almost every day of my life with him for about 5 years, okay? We golfed together. We went out to dinner together. We were in the studio together. We were together more than we were with our spouses, okay? I know how Doug thinks. Right. I know his love for the community. It's unwavering, and I've always acknowledged that. Doug Christie, in my opinion, is not the right man for this job, and more importantly, should never have been an NBA head coach. And to add on to that, if Doug is going to be replaced, and again, if he is let go next month at the end of the final game, he will not receive an interview to be a head coach from any team in the NBA. So chew on that for a little while because that to me says it all.
Well, I don't think he wants to be. I think he wants to stay in Sacramento.
Well, yes, of course he does. I'm saying if he were to be fired or let go at the end of the year, he would not receive an interview from any other team in the NBA to be their head coach.
Okay.
So
I don't know.
I
think
do know.
Doug could be. I think it's way too. People put way too much on the coach. There's so much more than. I mean, Doug.
There is so much more. You're right, Jimmy. You're right.
College.
You're right. There is so much more.
The game.
There are a lot of play. Magic Johnson knew the game too. He didn't work out very well as a head coach. There are a lot of coaches that know the game inside out, but that doesn't make him a good coach or successful.
A lot of it's just circumstance, I think. I really do.
Very true. Very true. Jimmy, I appreciate you taking the time to call the show. Thanks for your thoughts.
Thanks, Rick.
Take care. Ryan, are you still hot on the prize picks, buddy?
Sure am. Shohei Ohtani and Acuna came through for me this weekend. We are rolling. Hey, Grant, you know what tonight unofficially is?
What's that, buddy?
It is Magic City Max Discount Night. Tonight would have been Magic City Night in Atlanta before Commissioner Ears put a stop to it. Hey, no better time to join me over on Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy site. No revolving lineups, no salary caps. Super simple. All you do is choose 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their stat projections, and watch your account line up with money. Do me a favor. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the code RYNO, RYNO50, to get $50 in free play after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, Magic City Max Night tonight. You can get Jalen Johnson for half of a point, meaning Jalen Johnson only needs to score more than half of a point. That's a point, Grant, and you can be a winner today on Prize Picks. Use the code RYNO, RYNO50, to get $50 in free play after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
We'll be back with more. Your phone calls, 916-779-0929. The Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you with literally acres of new and Ford certified pre-owned vehicles on site. You can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento. Open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Remember, always be generous with the nutmeg. Just eyeball it.
Okay.
Mom's wisdom has served you well, but now it may be your turn to guide her.
Hey, I'm worried about Mom. She keeps forgetting her famous sweet potato pie recipe.
Some things come with age, sis.
And some don't.
Knowing the early signs of Alzheimer's in a loved one will help you make the best decisions for your family. Visit 10signs.org to learn the signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really...
Injuries to deal with. So his rotations would clearly be altered. I mean, on a fairly regular basis, which isn't the easiest thing in the world. But as I said, when I see how well Keon Ellis is doing in Cleveland, and I look at his future, and I look at what he does, the fact that Doug, as the head coach of the Sacramento Kings, buried him on the bench and toyed with him on the bench is enough for me alone to question whether he should be in that position. And I would say the same thing for Malik Monk. I would say the same thing for the way they treated Domantas Sabonis when he came back from his injury. It's malpractice. And whether Doug is being told what to do or not, it's still malpractice. And when you watch Keon Ellis play for Cleveland and you look at his role on Cleveland, a clear playoff team, he goes from being a nobody on the worst team in the NBA to a key reserve and starter for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ryan, that to me, we are going to look back as we were forecasting this with Jerry, you and me on our postgame shows on a regular basis. And we've forecasted that wherever Keon went, we would be talking about Keon excelling for that team. And that is exactly what's going on right now with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a basketball expert to see that he can play and he fits with just about anybody because he had to fit with so many different lineups here with the Kings. The one thing that I do have to throw in as a caveat is Doug Christie isn't solely responsible for mismanaging Keon Ellis. That started before Doug was the head coach.
Okay. Well, it started before Doug was the head coach, but that doesn't mean that it had to continue with Doug as the head coach.
Correct. 100%. And
right.
Yeah. And that's where you throw in, and here's the wild card. We don't know where Keon was at. Keon is not the type that usually is super vocal. He's not going to push back against the grain much. It was media day. We asked him about his contract. He said he hadn't even thought about it, and so you don't know if there was indications from Keon's camp that Sacramento was not going to be it because of what happened with Coach Brown. But either way, that was a bridge that should have been mended. And if I'm Scott Perry, that was towards the top of my list coming in as the new GM.
Well, what's done is done. He is now with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and regardless of where he plays in the future, he's going to have himself a nice bank account, right? That's what we do know.
He'll probably get himself
Speaking of bank accounts, go ahead.
He'll probably get a ring at some point in his career because good teams are always going to need a guy like him.
All right. Speaking of that, Precious Achiuwa.
Yes.
All right. What's his future like in Sacramento?
Really interesting that you asked. We've talked about it. Would he want to come back to Sacramento? Do the Kings have the flexibility to bring him back to Sacramento? Well, Precious answered one of those questions last night.
I love Sacramento. The city's embraced me. The team's embraced me. The organization, from the front office to my teammates and the coaching staff, I truly, truly love being here. And I hope, and I would really love to be here. I hope once the off season comes around, we'll be able to, they will be willing to have me come back.
They better not wait too long. When it comes time to keep him, they better not wait too long to make that decision.
Here's the difficult thing. What do you say? You say take the best player in the draft. So what if that player is a forward? What about DeAndre Hunter? What about Keegan Murray, who you just re-signed? I don't know that the Kings currently have the resources or even the playing time to bring back Precious Achiuwa. Now, to me,
I think he's better than DeAndre Hunter. Jerry Reynolds said so last night on the postgame show.
Grant, I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But numbers are numbers. The Kings aren't going to go over the cap. Right now, they're in the second apron. And my guess is Precious's number has to be at least $8 million a year. And he'll probably be looking for a 2, maybe 3-year contract. So can the Kings do something with DeAndre Hunter? What happens with Domantas Sabonis, Grant? Is he going to be back? Is that going to play?
He's not going to be back. He doesn't want to be back. They're going to figure out a way to move him.
Okay, so let's just say
he's not even. Do you ever even see Domantas Sabonis on the sideline?
No,
he's not even there. He's not even with the team.
I know.
Okay, so what does that tell you?
Look, I've said this a few times on the show. Domas, after his injury, we never formally had a scrum with him. He never came after a game to the podium once he returned. It's very non
You know why?
Domas. Go
You
ahead.
know why?
Yeah.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the postgame show, right?
Yeah.
You, Jerry, we discussed this. I have watched him throughout his career. And when he was with the Pacers, before coming to Sacramento and talking with people in Indiana, he's one of these old school throwback type of guys
Yeah.
where how you treat him and respect and loyalty is near the top of the list.
Yeah.
And how the Kings treated him after his injury, I think fractured any future that DeMontis had in Sacramento, Ryan. That's my take on that. And that's why you don't even see him with the team. Why isn't he with the team? Why isn't he on the sidelines? Why isn't he in the huddles in street clothes? Everyone else is.
It's a great question. I think you have to circle back to that exact time that you're talking about when he returned. Okay, first game doesn't start. Get it? You know, Zach LaVine didn't start when he came back for his first game.
Mm-hmm.
Keegan didn't start. But then you got to second game, third game. If you have to point to a point in the season where that bridge may have fractured, that is what I think it is right there.
I'm with you 100%. And we said so on the postgame show. And you made a good point because you're at practice and you're at many of the games. And he was unavailable. You couldn't even talk to him. That's what you kept telling me. You were like, Napes, he's not available. He's not available. He's not available.
Well, we can request who we would like to speak to. Usually you only speak to the same player once a week if it's a practice thing.
Right.
And each time we requested Domas, it just did not happen.
Okay, and where's Domas Sabonis right now? Does anyone know?
Last I heard,
I don't know.
Well, last that I heard, he was in Los Angeles rehabbing. That could have changed.
So why can't he rehab in Sacramento with their trainers and their medical staff in a beautiful facility? Why has he got to be in LA?
Grant, you're laying out everything that kind of points to what you said, that he will not be here. The whole thing about this, and you called it out, I was drinking the purple Kool-Aid, but in training camp, you know, we're putting all these new wrinkles in for Domas, right? Domas asked for one thing in the or after the season last year. It was a point guard. Well,
yes.
You go and get Dennis Schroeder, and then you sign Russ late, but then we're going to put these wrinkles in to really feature Domas, when in reality, they absolutely froze Domas out of that offense.
Yep. Absolutely. He will not be here next year. I'm just telling you. So when we talk about the front line, and if the Kings' best player on the board is a forward, that's what they're going to take. I think they have to. I think they've made too many mistakes in the past of not taking the best player and drafting for need. This team has too many needs. Do they need a point guard? Obviously, they need a point guard. How many years have we been saying that? But the point is that even when they've had point guards, they haven't been able to recognize that they've had point guards. And now those guards go and play at an elite level or a very upper echelon level for other teams. So they've had point guards. They just haven't been able to identify when they've had point guards.
It's a good point. Here's the other thing that you can say. They have done a terrible job at drafting combo guards. They've done a terrible job since Tyrese Halliburton. And if you're looking at a Darren Peterson, guess what he is? Combo guard. Now, I get it's a different regime, but this offseason for Scott Perry, this is going to be one that really, really determines what that 3-year sample size is going to look like, because he's drafted well, but the free agency trades, that's a little bit more
He's
subjective.
done a lot of good things. I mean, he's done a lot of good things. Dylan Cardwell, excellent move. Precious Achua, excellent move. Max Reynaud, you know, you look at Neeks coming on late in the year, but he's also done some things that are head scratchers. The Valanciunas to me is a head scratcher. Keon Ellis is a head scratcher. Dennis Schroeder is a head scratcher. And Russell Westbrook, I mean, good Lord. You want to talk about a move that just has completely set this franchise back in terms of player development. I just don't understand that. So he's done good, and we should point out the good, like 100%. You have done very often, because he deserves it.
Absolutely. There are a lot of things that I did not expect. Tim, people forget the Kings were not in the first round of the draft last season.
Correct.
He had to get back into it. And the Kings, when you're trading Valanciunas to save a couple of $1 million, that tells you how important it was to have a first-round draft pick that could step onto the court and play. It just so happened to be that 42 is the one that was taken at 42 and is the better of the two so far through the rookie years.
As we go to break, I'll ask you, have you even looked at the bracket yet or not yet? And what are we going to be doing for this March basketball tournament? We'll do that next.
Okay, perfect. We'll get into it.
Let's do that when we come back. All right. That's all straight ahead on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrude's does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrude's, expert 5-star service and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
We all want to look and feel our best. Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center invites you to live your best life every day. There are simple, practical, and inexpensive changes that you can make in your life today that will elevate your life in so many incredible ways. If it feels like it's time to hit that reset button and start living your best life now, Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center invites you to schedule a free healthy aging consultation with Dr. Dennis Godby, an accomplished author and expert in the art of aging gracefully. As we age, things change. We might start to experience lower energy, changes in mood, brain fog, or just a lack of motivation. And for guys, the onset of middle age can mean a lower libido and oftentimes ED. These things can usually be safely and easily treated. Visit gettingbetternow.com today and schedule your free healthy aging consultation with Sacramento Naturopathic Medical Center, located in Midtown.
If you've been waiting to buy a home, then you must be prepared to act soon for what's about to happen in the real estate market. The expected Fed rate cuts will renew the housing market demand. Buyers, like you, will flood the market. Bidding wars will happen, homes will sell quickly. You need to get your ducks in a row, and the best way to start is with an experienced broker to represent you. Village Financial's Spencer Grimmenstein is that broker. Spencer's white glove service, boutique experience, one-stop shop method makes it so easy. Spencer will navigate you through the process from start to finish. He has extensive home listings to choose from throughout Northern California. His 30-year mortgage brokering experience will get you the best rates. He also has access to private money to help you expedite getting your offer accepted and closed. And don't forget that it makes sense to call Spence. Call now to schedule a free home buying consultation. 916-805-4868. 916-805-4868. Or visit Spencer's Village Financial website at bfgloans.com.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of pre-diabetes. Visit doihavepre
And when will you do that? And how are we gonna? What are we gonna do to get going here for the NCAA tournament?
I have not filled one out yet. I've looked at it. And for the tournament, we'll post it on the Fox Sports KSAC X page. We'll do a normal bracket challenge. Winner gets bragging rights. We're not going to do any giveaways for that. But we are going to do a smaller bracket that we vote on. And we're down to 2 options. Unless one of you can call us or text us or send us a message on the Fox Sports YouTube simulcast that's a better idea for our bracket. I think we're down to 2, Grant. They are the best sports calls of all time or the best uniform of all time.
Wow.
So what we'll do is we will seed those selections, which means we need to get feedback from you. First, we need to decide which one it's going to be, but then we'll seed whatever we feel are the top 16 uniforms, top 16 calls, and we will vote on them as the tournament goes along, and we will figure out what is the best sports call and or uniform of all time across all sports.
Okay, I like that. All right. One of the most intriguing aspects, I think, of filling out your bracket is the 12-5 seed.
Yeah.
Because almost every year we see an upset. So here are your 12th seeds, the Northern Iowa Panthers. Raise your hand if you knew that they were were you aware of that? I was not aware of that.
Northern Iowa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Panthers?
Yeah, they've I didn't know they were the Panthers, but I know they've upset some teams in the past in the tournament.
Okay. By the way, I'll get to the other 12 seeds. Were you happy that Miami of Ohio got in?
Yes.
After losing the opening round of the MAC tournament.
Yes. The committee the committee did the right thing because as much as this is about winning a championship, it's also about viewership and that's a team that you want to see. I have a huge problem. I want to let me ask you first. Do you have any problems? Yeah. We only have 3 hours. Well, now we're down to about 2 hours and 15 minutes. Do you have any issues with anything in the bracket?
I'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
So give me 30 seconds. So Northern Iowa, High Point. I've never even heard of High Point before. The High Point Panthers, the Akron Zips, and the McNeese Cowboys are your 12 seeds. So keep that in mind if you're going for an upset. I've been very open about this. I don't follow college basketball to a degree where I'm comfortable saying that I have a problem or don't have a problem because I'm not a phony. I'm not going to come on the radio and act like I'm a college basketball expert and I'm a bracket expert and I have a problem with this team being in or that team not being in. I can't do that, okay? If we're talking about the NBA, I can answer any question on any subject and feel like I'm qualified to do that. I don't watch college basketball enough for a variety of reasons. Number one, I don't have time. Number two, I rarely get a question on this radio show about college basketball. I can probably count on my fingers over the decades of doing this show in Sacramento the number of times I've been asked about college basketball. So I don't really spend the time on it that I spend on the NBA, the NFL, and other sports. So I can't answer that question. What about you?
I will preface it with what you just said to a degree. I do not spend nearly as much time on college as I do the NBA. I had no issue with the teams that got left out and the teams that are in. I just have some logistics issues with what the committee did. I don't like that Texas is going to be playing the late game, which is a first 4 game. on Tuesday, and then on Thursday have to go to a third time zone and play their first round or their second round game if they win that first 4. And then also Florida as a number 1 seed, if they get to the regional final and Houston's there, Houston's going to be playing basically a home game. And so it's the little things like that, sending teams to the East Coast, vice versa. But I'm kind of getting into the weeds there. But those things make a difference when you don't have to travel.
I don't at all factor that in anymore due to the fact that teams on the West Coast are now in the Atlantic Coast Conference. All right. So I don't want to hear about travel. I'm sorry. I understand what you're saying. And I'm not saying it doesn't make a difference. But, you can't tell me that teams on the West Coast are playing on the East Coast in a conference and then complain to me that you got to travel during the NCAA tournament. I'm sorry. That doesn't fly with me.
Grant, they don't do it on a NBA schedule. That's the problem. If you're going to that side of the coast, typically you're going to play a couple games on that side of the coast.
Yeah, that's true. You're not going back and forth. I understand what you're saying. Not like the NBA. I get you.
Texas is starting off in the Central. They're going to the East, and then if they win, they got to come all the way out West in a span of 36 hours. I just think it's a little much.
Yeah, it's a lot
to ask.
Yeah. All right. So, will you fill out a bracket before tomorrow?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Look, it's right here. We're already stewing on it, baby. For those that are not watching, I have my bracket in front of me.
Somebody said their biggest issue is with St. John's being a 5 seed. They won the Big East regular season and conference title, but UConn gets the number 2 seed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I always pick coaches more than teams when it comes to the NCAA tournament, and it's hard to go against Rick Pitino.
Yeah, it's a good point. The Achilles heel for that St. John's team is 3-point shooting. They just don't do it well. And they're grinders. They're going to make you feel them for 40 minutes. But when you can't shoot the 3 ball in the tournament, that's a big problem.
Yeah, I think Duke and St. John's are going to meet for the East Regional Final. I think that's going to be the matchup. UConn and St. John's. I think that is going to be I'm looking at that part of the bracket, and I like St. John's and I like UConn. Let me back up. In my opinion, okay, there are only 10 teams that can win a national championship out of the 68.
How many do you think can make a Final Four?
I'm going to say 10.
Okay.
I'm going to say maybe 12. So if you're asking me, is there a true Cinderella? First of all, we have to define a Cinderella. Where do you, of 5th seed or lower? How do you define a Cinderella? And I'm talking about to make it to the Final Four. I'm not talking about to win a game or two. I'm talking about to make it to the Final Four. If you're not a top 16 team, is that then at that point a Cinderella, or do we have to go down a little bit lower in seeding?
It's usually 8 for me. 8.
Okay.
8 and lower.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, it's the week of the NCAA. And listen, I think when you are a sports fan, even if you don't follow college basketball religiously, it's still a great time of the year. I think everyone most people gravitate towards it because it's single game elimination is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
And Grant, it's nonstop hoops.
Yes.
For 4 days.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing too.
It is. So if I'm looking at Duke and St. John's, all right, if I'm looking at Duke is going to advance, I like Ohio State. Then St. John's plays Kansas. Kansas is a 4th seed.
Yeah.
And all eyes are going to be on Peterson, right?
Oh, yes.
All eyes are going to be on him. But I think UConn and St. John's are going to meet in the regional final there in the East. I'm looking at their bracket. UConn should beat Furman. Then they would play the winner of UCLA and UCF. Here's the other team that I always keep an eye on because of their coach, and that's Michigan State.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at coaches in that bracket, right? and I'm looking at Rick Pitino, and I'm looking at Bill Self, and I'm looking at Tom Izzo, and I'm looking at like all of these great coaches.
Mick Cronin is
That's
in that
right.
bracket.
That's great. UConn, what is
Danny Hurley.
Hello. Yes. So like that's I don't ignore that, Ryan. I always look at that.
Yeah, it's experience, right? They have been there enough. I think your team gives you a little bit more attention when you are somebody that's gone deep into that tournament, and you can bring a sense, as Doug's talked about with DeMar DeRozan, with the young guys, a sense of calm to the team. Like, settle down. It's just first round. We've got 5 more games to play.
And how must you be feeling if you're a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide and their head coach, Nate Oates, when you're getting ready to start the NCAA tournament? Oh, yeah, and by the way, your second best player has been removed from campus and is facing felony charges. The individual that we're talking about is Aiden Holloway. He's no longer with the team. He has been removed in the wake of his drug arrest this morning. Hello, the number 2 scorer for the Crimson Tide.
Is
arrested.
Okay. Is this just me, or is this where we're at in sports? When I saw that story, the first thing that came to my mind was, that's really coincidental. The timing that 2 days, 3 days before the tournament starts, for something like that, they came into his house reportedly. It's not like he was out in public. I'm not defending what he did or what he allegedly had, because it's illegal there. But it just, am I being too cynical when you see something like that?
I have not researched the story to a degree other than reading the story. In other words, reading what was published. I read it once. I didn't really get into the particulars of why it happened today or why it happened at his house. So I can't really say. All I do know is the possession charge that he has can carry a penalty of up to 10 years in jail and a fine of $15,000. They said he's going to be charged with first-degree possession of marijuana, not for personal use. That's a Class C felony. A failure to affix a tax stamp, also a felony. So we're not talking about like murder, all right? We're not, you know what I mean? Like, but
failure to affix a tax stamp. Is that what you said?
So I'm reading what was released upon from the Alabama Narcotics Task Force. Okay, I'm just telling you what they said. So they recovered more than a pound of marijuana, paraphernalia, and cash. I know one thing, regardless of how you feel about this, whether it was coincidental or there's more to it, here's what I do know. We're talking, this is a sports show, and we're talking about the NCAA tournament, and I don't see how Alabama can really fare now and go that far without their number 2 scorer 3 days before they play their first game.
It's rough. It just,
what do you think?
No, absolutely. That's, these guys are 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yep.
You know, and here's the other thing. Is there anyone else on the team that might be tied to this? There's so much there that it's a distraction. This is the last time you want a distraction. Period. End of story.
Yeah. All right. We're going to talk more about this. We invite your phone calls at 916-779-0929. I'm curious, as we get to hour number 2, I do want to talk about the 49ers and so far their offseason. I think they've had one of the best off seasons of any team in the National Football League. I really do. And to sign Christian Kirk today, I think that's another really good pickup. I really have liked what the 49ers have done during free agency, and it's still going on, and now we will look forward to the draft. So we've got the NFL we can mix in. Did you watch the World Baseball Classic game last night with the U.S. and the Dominican? Were you as enthralled with that as me? I thought it was amazing. That and the NBA, as always, right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
Summer is coming. Backyard parties, barbecues, good times with great people. Take your summer to the next level with an outdoor kitchen or fire pit from Custom Fireside. Custom Fireside has the largest inventory of outdoor kitchen options, fire pits, and fireplaces in the Sacramento area. If you missed us at Capitol Beer Fest, no problem. Now through the end of March, visit one of our 2 locations. Mention Beer Fest and you'll still get Beer Fest savings. Custom Fireside, employee owned and operated in Sacramento and Elk Grove.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you. With literally acres of new and Ford certified pre-owned vehicles on site, you can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento, open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
Are you SAC Alert? Have you signed up to receive emergency alerts via phone, text, email, or app? Well, what are you waiting for? Winter is coming, and that means there is potential for storms and flooding in our county. Don't get caught off guard or left in the cold. Get urgent storm evacuation and shelter information immediately sent directly to your device. Sign up today at sacramento-alert.org. Again, that's sacramento-alert.org. It's free, quick, and easy to do, and can literally be a lifesaver.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. GUBRUDS.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. GUBRUDS. Gabrud's.com.
Sacramento, we mean business.
Every freaking day.
Great sports talk doesn't take a day off.
Early bird gets the worm and all that.
Sacktown, it's the home of
Grant Napear.
Lock in, listen up, and stay right here.
And from Dan Patrick in the morning to Grant Napear on your drive home.
There's nothing like the power of live radio. Nothing.
This is Fox Sports Sacramento. 104.7 FM, 890 AM.
Who's canceled now?
Grant Napear is back every weekday afternoon, 3 to 6. This is Fox Sports.
Which he didn't have, and why they have it. And I'm just blown away that this even exists. So with your background, maybe you can explain that to us, because I don't understand it.
Yes, certain states require those that are doing or selling something illegally.
Illegally.
in that state that is against their law, they require them to purchase what's called a stamp, which is basically paying a share of the tax on your illegal activity.
So I have to admit that I'm doing something illegally, which then can alert the feds, and
Correct.
therefore I can then be arrested. Is that correct? Is that what we're talking about
Well,
here?
this is not the feds; it's the state.
Okay, the state, whatever.
Yeah.
But let me back up. So I have to go get this stamp, this tax stamp,
Excise
which
stamp.
then law enforcement can be aware of, and then if they want to make my life miserable, they can do so because they know exactly what I'm doing.
It's one of those things where I want to be careful about what I say about this. If you are going to pay your excise tax, you're probably under the impression that it's probably not a big deal. There's very few states that require you to do this. Alabama happens to be one, but you're laying it out perfectly. Yes, here I am. This is how much money that I made.
Unbelievable.
On illegal activity. So let me pay my 19% so you can see that I have paid my taxes on that.
You know, the stupidity of our laws. I remember being in college, and I may have it backwards, but basically grain alcohol was legal to drink in Ohio, but not legal to purchase in Ohio. In Michigan, it was legal to buy, but not okay to drink. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like, wait a minute, what? You know, like, what? I just don't understand a lot of this. So let's get back to the essence of this. You thought that the timing of this is a little conspicuous, right?
100%.
You think there's, okay. And now he's out of Alabama. So do you mean you think this is from somebody that is anti-Alabama basketball? What do you mean when you thought that the timing of this is odd?
It could be a number of things. It could be somebody
who had Alabama going a certain distance in the tournament. No, I mean, let's talk about everything here.
It could be this. I mean, there's too many possibilities to lay out. Was the kid being levied by somebody that had the information and he didn't do a certain thing and now you do this? It could be somebody that doesn't want Alabama to advance. It could be a number of things. It could be a tip from somebody that put a ton of money on a team that Alabama's playing that the authorities follow up on. I mean, it's just sad that those are the thoughts that go through your head when you see something like this 3 days before the tournament kicks off.
And this from the 916 doesn't understand 2026. He said, this kid is selling weed to make an income to survive. This is 2026, not 1986. Go catch real criminals. Okay. Are you aware of name, image, and likeness? Do you think that this kid at Alabama needs to sell weed to survive? I guarantee you that he is receiving money to play at Alabama. That is a big-time program with a big-time coach. He has money to survive. He doesn't need to sell narcotics or whatever you want to call it to survive. So come on, let's wake up a little bit, would you please? I mean, let's get serious here.
So
doesn't need to sell that to survive.
The NBA has made marijuana legal for players to use.
Correct.
I believe the NFL has as well, correct?
I believe the NFL is
they're not testing for it.
Medicinal marijuana is okay, and I'm not even correct, but I believe it's the language is different than the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not an expert on this.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy for us to sit here in a state where it's completely legal, and there's many states like us where that's the case, and, you know, poo-poo the other states for not allowing or, you know, keeping it illegal while, you know, many don't see it as a big deal. But it's just, for this kid, dumb decision, number one.
Yes.
But the timing is just so conspicuous. What did Alabama do in the conference tournament? Did they advance far in the SEC tournament?
No. Well, they're right now at number 4 seed. So
I'd have to go back and look at their scores of their games. They're number 4, and they play Hofstra in the first round. Great lacrosse school, by the way, Hofstra.
Hofstra.
I
It
used
seems
to
like
play there all the time.
Seems like the Ivy schools and Hofstra, these fancy schools are all good lacrosse schools.
Hofstra on Long Island, and right across from the Nassau Coliseum where the Islanders used to play.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Rod Strickland is taking his team to the NCAA tournament. I believe it's a Long Island school. They're based out of Brooklyn, but it's a Long Island school.
Okay.
Thought that was pretty cool. Maybe,
Very cool.
Maybe you would know them. I'll have to find them on the bracket.
Rod Strickland.
Yeah, Long Island. That's the name of the school. They're a 16 seed.
Yeah. Good luck.
You think Nebraska is going to get their first tournament win? The pressure's on.
Yeah, against Troy, I do.
I do as well.
I think they're going to beat Troy. Yes. Wow. That would be really bad for them to lose to Troy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they will win. If I had to give you one conference to watch out for, I would say watch out for, I shouldn't say conference, but, what's the conference that Gonzaga and Santa Clara and all that?
All right, so let me ask you about Gonzaga. Every year, we always talk about Gonzaga, right? And we talk about their basketball prowess, and you look at all of the players, okay, that have gone and had great NBA careers, right? You can go back to John Stockton. You can go to Sabonis, all right? You tell me, what is it about that school, okay? What is it about them that they are so good at little tiny school is so good in basketball? Explain that to me, would you please? Like, how does that happen? How is it that Gonzaga is such a, for most part, okay, a power, okay, a school that attracts really good talent, has really good success, and ends up every year, or most every years, being relevant, okay? Being relevant with the, basketball every year, right? And here they are this year. What were they this year? They only lost, 3 games?
Grant, a lot of teams in that West Coast Conference, if I had to put a top 30 together of the way programs are ran, Gonzaga and St. Mary's are darn near the top, with Mark Few, who has done an excellent job there.
Yeah, but they're leaving that conference.
I know, but I'm talking historically. Randy Bennett, these are coaches that could have gone on to much bigger schools, but they stay because they built such a great program, and they have tentacles in recruiting pools in areas that other teams don't. Like, look at Gonzaga, how many international players come through that program. Same thing with Randy Bennett. He's had his fair share.
Yes.
They're just very well-ran programs.
But they're going to the Pac-12. This is it for them. They're moving on next year.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some phone calls with Pat in New York. Hi, Pat.
Hey, Grant, how you doing?
Good, Patrick.
Yeah, Ryan's right. The LIU was based out of Brooklyn.
Yep.
And the reason I'm calling is that I didn't watch much college basketball this year, but I did watch the Big East final the other day, and St. John's really did a good job on Connecticut. But meanwhile, now I've been watching college basketball on and off for the last 30 years. Every time St. John's gets into the tournament, no matter what, they always seem to be put out onto the West Coast.
Okay.
And
go ahead.
They never get seeded in the East. I mean, they handled Connecticut, but then when the committee put everything out, they put Connecticut at number 2, and they started them in Philadelphia. And meanwhile, St. John's, even though they're in the East bracket, they put them out in San Diego, I believe. And
that doesn't make any sense.
It's just traditionally almost every time St. John's has gotten into the tournament, and I'm going back to 1985, because I believe they came out of the West in 1985. Yep. They always get seeded out West.
That's stupid. They are
fan.
are playing in San Diego. You're right, against Northern Iowa, and it's absurd. It is. I don't know what else to say.
I mean, you gotta let the teams play out. But where St. John's is, they gotta either face Duke, Kansas, all these like major East teams. But meanwhile, Connecticut, they're like seated in Philadelphia, and their bracket looks like a cakewalk compared to St. John's. And meanwhile, St. John's beat them twice this year.
Yeah, well, they're a number 2 seed, and St. John's is a number 5 seed. That's why they're in Philadelphia, and St. John's is in San Diego. I'm with you. I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Right. I'm just saying traditionally since like the 90s, it's like they always get seeded out west to start. I mean, no matter what. I mean, it's crazy. I just had to point that out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
All right, man.
And Ryan, this is what you were referring to earlier, right? This is what you were referring to earlier with the seedings and where you're playing, and if you advance, where you're playing in a short period of time in the next game. So I get you.
This is it is the greatest tournament, I think, in sports. True tournament, 1 and out, biggest sample size, but it's also a spectacle. I don't think it's a coincidence that they send St. John's to the West Coast, because how often is St. John's on the West Coast with Rick Pitino? They want to make money on this thing too. There's little trends. And so I ask you this, in this day of AI, which the committee is already heavily leaning on, at what point do you just put the teams into the system and let technology, I guess a little bit like the BCS, decide this?
That's a really good point, and I have not even thought about the impact of having AI do all of this. You got me there. I've never even thought about that, but you would think it would be done pretty well, don't you think?
Yeah, because I'm not sure if you had a chance to listen to the head of the committee talk. He did a couple of interviews, but they have these different clauses that they'll, like, if a team has already played a team once in the season, then they don't want to match them up in the NCAA tournament, which then leads to issues like Patrick's talking about, where you got to send St. John's to the West Coast. But I guess my bigger point is the human element is taking into account, because the committee chair said it numerous times. Well, Duke is they're going to be healthy by the time the tournament rolls around. So that's where the human is coming in to the computer that's spitting this stuff out. And it just makes for an interesting discussion, because then you can't argue with it.
No, 916-779-0929. Again, that's 916-779-0929. If you want to get in and call the show. Said, what does he make then, Grant? Talking about the Alabama player. I don't know what he makes, but for you to think that he needs to sell drugs to survive is absurd, okay? Like, I know enough about Alabama sports, and I know enough about Nate Oates and the Alabama basketball team, and I'm very familiar with Alabama sports because they're one of the athletic programs that I follow and attend games at. I can guarantee you that he did not have to sell marijuana to survive.
Well,
all right?
Okay. I think there's some nuance to this, because I do agree he doesn't need to sell it to survive. But now in this day and age of NIL, some kids get caught up with keeping up with the Joneses. Oh,
okay, but that's his problem. That's
Correct.
Not the problem of surviving. That's the choice he made. If he's got enough money where he doesn't need to sell marijuana to survive, is the point I'm trying to make.
But he may see surviving. His definition of surviving might be a lot different.
Okay, well, I'm going by the text message. I'm going by the text message.
I know.
Okay, I'm responding to what was said to me on the chat line, and he said that he needed to do that to survive. And I'm like, get a grip, would you please?
Oh, my gosh.
Like, get a grip, all right? Seriously? Like, you know how stupid that sounds? The second leading scorer at Alabama in a basketball powerhouse, in a athletic conference powerhouse, in Tuscaloosa
What?
with their boosters on alums got to sell marijuana to survive? You know how stupid that is?
I guarantee you the basketball players are not making what some of the football players are making.
I guarantee you that the basketball players at Alabama are doing just well, just doing fine. Now, are they making what Ty Simpson, the quarterback at Alabama, no. Okay. But are they starving? No. All right. Are they driving around in nice automobiles? Yes, because I've seen videos of them. They're doing just fine. Thank you very much. Okay. They're doing just fine.
What were your cheap go-to meals in college?
Well, I was in a fraternity house, but if I did not eat, well, I got a great story. You got time for a great story?
Absolutely.
So our cook's name was Joanne. And I'm telling you, I even remember the guy's name, Eric Decker. He goes to eat dinner one night, and he eats the food and then writes a note and says, if you can tell the difference, okay. He went in, you want to talk about doing stupid stuff at age 18 or 19. The next day for lunch, he had gone into the kitchen and put a pair of her work shoes in the deep fryer. Okay.
Stop.
Okay. And then put her shoes on the table with all the food for lunch and said, if you can tell the difference between Joanne's shoes and this food, you win a prize. Okay. Okay. And like, we were just all howling, but then she ended up quitting.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. And then we had to beg her to come back, and we had to, lick our wounds and say, hey, we're stupid and Eric's stupid, and we really do appreciate you, and it was a bad joke and we're sorry, but like, I'll never forget, if you can tell the difference between these shoes and today's lunch, you win a prize.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, what
funny.
did I eat when I wasn't eating at the fraternity house? I didn't have a lot of money. So it would be a quick run across the street to McDonald's, where I used to see Ken Morrow all the time.
There you go.
I always used to see Ken Morrow over at the McDonald's on East Wooster Street.
East Wooster Street.
And yeah, that's and then there was a sub shop right across the way called Sam B's. So that was right next to McDonald's. And so I would go there. Those were my two go-to places because it was across the street from where I live.
My freshman year, we had a, I guess, cafeteria. And so we didn't really get like the good stuff that often, like a steak and seafood. They do it like maybe once a semester. And so we decided that we were going, my Aunt Eileen came down and visited me, and she brought me a George Foreman grill. And in the dorms, you are not supposed to have anything like that. It's microwave only.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, well, can we maybe pull this off? So we take it into the bathroom and we turn the shower on, we grill it, comes out perfect. So now we start doing it again and again. Everybody's catching on to it, and it turns into a little business. Well, we didn't pay our excise tax, and somebody ratted us out, and yeah, they had to clear the dorm out because the smoke alarm ended up going off. But it was good while it lasted.
Yeah, while it
really
lasted.
good.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what else is good. DAS Mechanical. Have you looked at the extended forecast? You're going to need your AC. And this may be a perfect time to get in contact with DAS and make sure your air conditioner is tuned up and ready to go. I've talked a lot about DAS the last couple of weeks. A great deed is they're donating a heating or air conditioning unit to a individual, family, or a veteran in need. And you can nominate yourself or somebody you know by going to dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org. Just click on the 2026 HVAC nomination form, fill it out, and maybe you or that individual win a heating or air conditioning unit installed by DAS Mechanical. DAS Mechanical, locally owned, family owned, serving Sacramento and Placer counties. Go to dasmechanical.org. Nominate yourself or someone you know. And keep in mind, they are HVAC repair and service experts. They are awesome. That's DAS Mechanical. More to come on a variety of topics on this Monday. A busy week in the world of sports with the World Baseball Classic, Team USA moving on. And what about March men's basketball tournament? Yes, starting this week. Lots to go on. And the Kings, they play the Spurs tomorrow. Yeah, you remember De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes? Yeah, they're not too bad with Victor Wembanyama. They're in town tomorrow. All of that and more right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
We are Fox. Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you. With literally acres of new and Ford-certified pre-owned vehicles on site, you can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento. Open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov.
And the extreme that they would go to entertain their friends, such as putting someone's shoes in a deep fryer and then putting them on the table with the rest of the food. Yeah, you look back on that and go, yeah, we were stupid. Yeah, we were stupid. But anyway. Hey, Grant, called you on Thursday to talk about the CIF State High School Championship and definitely didn't disappoint. Great games, players, and the crowd was electric. I read on that. You know, we had Joe Davidson on from the Sacramento Bee on Friday. And it's a great weekend for this area. And I'm really happy that it continues to be in our town to see the boys and girls of the high schools in this state excel on a stage like Golden One Center in front of those crowds. It's a great event, Ryan. Great event. I'm glad Joe came on Friday to talk about it. And I'm glad that so many of you got a chance to witness it in person.
No doubt about it. Getting to play for a state championship and getting to play on an NBA floor, that's something you'll never forget, win or lose.
All right, so somebody asked me about the 49ers and their depth now at the wide receiver position after a one-year deal with Christian Kirk. And you already have, you know, Mike Evans, who signed a 3-year deal. And I will tell you that when I look at the moves that the 49ers have made, and then I've read people that cover the NFL for a living, they are getting a lot of positive pub for the additions that they've made and fixing some of the weaknesses on their football team. Brian, you know this. Everything comes down to health, right?
Yeah.
We know that. The 49ers were decimated by injuries last year. The team that you follow, the Seahawks were relatively lucky in the skill department. They did lose a running back in the playoffs, but Walker picked up the load and was fabulous. But we looked at the Lions the year before, Ryan. Their defense was completely decimated by injuries, and they lost to Washington in the first playoff game that they had as a number 1 seed. Those are things you can't forecast. But when you look at the 49ers' talent, they're still, you could make an argument, they're as good as anybody.
No doubt about it. I'm a Seahawks fan, and I'm captivated by what the Niners seemed to capture last year. Like, for the first time, they really had a brand to me, a personality, a grit. And now that they've done what they've done in the offseason, I'm excited to see what they do. I'm never going to root for them, but I am all for a group that pulls together like that, especially in the National Football League.
Darius Slay, other news in the NFL. And again, I don't blame him for retiring. Outstanding defensive back. He's 35. He was with Pittsburgh last year. Really a heck of a career. He announced his retirement today. And, when you look at a quarterback, can we label Justin Fields a bust now as he once again goes to another team? Is it fair to just say that based on where he was taken in the draft, he's a bust? I think he's a bust. Would you label him a bust?
I'm on the border just because of guys like Sam Darnold and Geno, but it seems like he's kind of at that last stop where if this does not work out or he gets a chance and it flames out. Yeah. I mean, you could make the argument either way. He's been disappointing.
Well, he's now 27. Okay.
Is he really? He's 27 now?
Yeah.
Okay. Bust. That changes it. 27.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess Mahomes, who is rehabbing his injury, is coming along well. He's obviously the franchise in Kansas City. But I say Justin Fields, and then I use the name Andy Reid, right?
Yeah.
If you can't play for Kyle Shanahan, and we've seen the success he's had with quarterbacks, with the exception of Trey Lance, maybe this is the perfect fit for him if Mahomes is not able to go or gets hurt. Maybe this is finally what he needs. But he's running out of time, I can tell you that.
I always look at the backup quarterback and the starter, and usually you want the styles to be similar. How do you think Justin Fields line, and nobody's Mahomes, but Justin Fields' style of play versus Patrick Mahomes' style, do they line up?
Well, Fields can't read defenses like Mahomes. They're both very mobile. They're both able to elude pressure. But I get back to Fields. I mean, again, he was a number 1 pick that the Bears moved up to get, right?
Yeah.
And, well, I shouldn't say the number 1. First, I think he was taken second. So he's 16-37 as a starter. Now, in all fairness, he hasn't been in the best situations to excel. And now we're talking about his 4th team in 4 years. And if it doesn't work with Andy Reid, then you would have to think, assuming that he gets an opportunity to get on the field, which will only happen if Mahomes is hurt, this will be it for him. This would be it. Right?
Well, maybe not. If things go well with Andy Reid, if he plays well, and I know preseason doesn't necessarily matter, but let's say he plays well in the preseason. Let's say Mahomes goes down with a concussion and he plays the rest of the game and plays well. I think there might be life for him. I think teams are now, heck, did you have Geno Smith going back to New York on your bingo card?
No, I didn't have Geno Smith going back to New York, but I didn't have Geno Smith leaving Seattle to go to the Raiders with Pete Carroll after he had played pretty well there. And you know what? It ends up being a great move for Seattle with both the decision to move on from Pete Carroll and to move on from Geno Smith. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of this. They just won the Super Bowl.
John Schneider's greatest talent is getting off talent early.
Yep.
It's incredible how he's able to do that. He's done
it. It is incredible. And you think about how well Geno, I mean, let's face it, Geno had a very nice career in Seattle.
He was the great bridge to
he resurrected his career.
Yep, absolutely. It worked out.
He went from being a journeyman backup quarterback to a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL.
That's right. and he played in some big games. He made some big throws. People saw him a different way. And it can be just that, Grant. He was not asked to put the team on his shoulders in Seattle. Seattle never asked that of their quarterback when Seattle is playing their preferred brand of football. And that builds confidence, right? It's those short, easy passes. Then you get your confidence up. You're willing to put it in that short window. So you never know. Maybe it can work for Justin, but Geno, New York. Wow.
Yeah. Well, when I look at the AFC and I'm looking at where we were last year, there are a lot of people think that New England's not really that team.
Yeah.
I think of all the teams that I'm going to be looking at in the AFC, it's going to be New England because I'm looking at Buffalo. Miami and the Jets are still not in the picture. It's a 2-team division. And Buffalo's got a new coach, and they've gone in a little bit of a different direction. You have to wonder how much longer their window is open. And then was New England and what they accomplished last year a fluke? Is Drake May going to recover from a bad Super Bowl? Is he the guy? I think he is. He's only in his second year. He's going into his third year. So I think the answer to that question is yes. But again, what about New England, who won 4 games the previous year? Then out west, right? AFC West. What are the Raiders going to look like? And how long will it take with new coaching staff and the number 1 pick and Fernando Mendoza, if he's the right guy, how long will it take for the Raiders to be relevant in the AFC? Because Denver has arrived, right? They're good. They're a team that I don't think is just going to fall off the map. The Chargers are always a wild card.
Yeah.
But they're competitive. And we don't know yet really about Mahomes and how he will be. Although I don't think Kansas City is a team that is going to be going back to the Super Bowl when I'm looking at their roster. But, I mean, how can you go against Andy Reid and Mahomes if Mahomes is healthy and on the field, right? You can't. And then I look at, the Central. And that division is so different now because you don't have John Harbaugh and you don't have Mike Tomlin. And the Browns are the Browns. So is this the year that Cincinnati is going to do what they did 3 years ago and get back to the Super Bowl by winning a AFC championship game on the road? Is Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and that offense going to get help from the defense now without Tyler Hendrickson, who is such a big part of their defense? Like, what are they going to do defensively? How's that going to get them to where they need to go? And then we always thought the AFC South was a joke, and we used to make fun of that division for quite a while. Well, now all of a sudden, I don't think you can laugh at them. Jacksonville has arrived. Are they great? No, but they're good. They're very good. Okay. Houston's defense is the best in football. The question with them is C.J. Stroud, but you can't overlook them. The Colts last year were rolling until Daniel Jones got hurt.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you, I think Tennessee has had a tremendous offseason. I think the Titans have had a really strong offseason. And if Robert Saleh and Brian Dable can get together and mold this team the way they have in the past with other stops as coordinators, and now Saleh's his second chance as a head coach, if Cam Ward is the guy, and I know I'm saying if a lot, but I like the additions that Tennessee's made. I think their roster is significantly better than it was last year.
Is Dable and Saleh as close to co-head coaches as you will see in the NFL?
I can't answer that for this reason. I don't know how you define what you just asked me, because there have been a lot of coordinators that have been really good in the NFL, the Norv Turners of the world, and others that have been. Robert Saleh had a chance, right? You look at other coordinators that have had a chance to be a head coach, and it just never worked out, even with more than one stops. So I don't know if Robert Saleh is cut out to be a head coach. I know he's a great defensive mind and a great defensive coach. I know Brian Dable and what he did in Buffalo and his first year in New York, and the players that have played with him that have talked how much they admire him. Being a head coach is a different animal. I can't answer that question. I really don't know. Are we talking Dennis Allen, who's one of the game's best defensive coordinators, but has flopped twice as an NFL head coach? Like Norv Turner.
Yeah.
Tremendous offensive coordinator. One of the best of all time.
Yep.
Not a head coach.
Yep. It's, to me, my confidence is so much more in Dable than Saleh. Saleh just does not feel his time in New York. Just it didn't feel like the right guy as the leader, the quote unquote CEO. But he's a perfect coordinator. He's an amazing coordinator. I hope it works out. They're rebranding. They've come out with new uniforms and all that. So
yeah, my son debuted that on his show in
did he?
Nashville. Yeah, I'll
Cool.
send it to you. It was very funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they had it in a box. It was given to them by the Titans, and they opened it up on their show.
How about that?
Yeah.
Even after his New York comment?
Yeah. I they get it. You know,
Okay.
Hey, you know what? The truth hurts. He was just being truthful.
This is true. Hey,
I mean, the Titans say what all you want about Robert Saleh. They'd prefer to have John Harbaugh as their coach.
Yeah, no doubt about that. This hiring cycle this year was just so weird. Like McCarthy was not on my bingo card for Pittsburgh, and maybe it'll work out. You never know, but very different.
We'll come back. We'll talk more about the NFL. I've got Grant's Rant coming up at 5 o'clock. Your phone calls and text messages always welcome at 916-779-0929. I have a show tonight at 7 o'clock over on YouTube and X. Make sure you join me at 7 o'clock. I'll look forward to doing that, my Open Forum Monday. We're back right after this.
The new year is here, a fresh opportunity to tell people about your products and services so they know who to spend their money with. Fox Sports Radio has a Mount Rushmore of sports talk talent. Patrick, Cowherd, Gottlieb, and Sacramento's own Grant Napear, and they have an audience you can take to the bank. This is Fox Sports General Manager Kurt Bagelman. Sports Talk listeners are a unique, target-rich group of consumers. They're employed, they earn six-figure incomes, 2/3 own their own homes, and they listen to the radio longer. Let me repeat that. They listen longer, so your commercial message has more opportunity to be heard. It costs nothing to learn how a good strategy and a great schedule could help your business. So call me, 916-779-0914. 916-779-0914. Radio gets results, and we are here to help. Call 916-779-0914.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Are you or do you know a veteran or a family in need of a heating or air conditioning unit? If so, go now to dasmechanical.org and nominate yourself or someone you know to receive one with installation being donated by our neighbors at DAS Mechanical. We all know this past year has been tough for some in our community. Nick Delancey and his DAS family want to give back, and they're excited to give back, just like this, to help out a veteran or family in need. It's very simple to enter. Go to dasmechanical.org. Click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab and fill out a very short 6-question nomination form. That's dasmechanical.org. Click the 2026 HVAC System Donation tab and fill out the short form. DAS Mechanical, family owned and proudly serving our community for years. Nominate now at dasmechanical.org. That's dasmechanical.org.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Eubanks, Rex Ryan did pretty good. They did not do bad. They did not do bad. All right, let's get to some phone calls at 916-779-0929. We say hello to Lynn. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Grant, that is pretty bad when you're a franchise and you count on one hand how many coaches have been successful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about Sacramento. We can talk about the Kings could be a,
yeah.
Let's see. Rick Adelman. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So let me move over to Formula One. I got to ask you a question. Did the writers of the Formula One movie, Grant, wrote the specs for the new engine and all this stuff that's happening this year? Because this is the wildest thing I've ever seen. Who would ever dream to see 2 Alpine cars score points and having 2 McLaren cars didn't even start?
They couldn't even get out of the garage.
No wonder why Zach Brown hopped on a jet and flew all the way to Jerry's World to go watch McLaren Indy cars run, because that is just flat out amazing. And I tell you what, it is probably a good thing that these races are canceled in April, because some of these teams really need to figure it out. And it's funny, as a lot of teams are criticizing it, it's funny that Toto Wolff of the Mercedes, and he's saying, oh, this is weird. Why is everybody criticizing? Of course, Toto Wolff is going to be happy with Mercedes, because this team has been winning all the races.
It's like men against boys.
1-2.
It's like men against boys. I mean, Mercedes right now is so far ahead of everyone else. Ferrari is probably closest. But, I mean, you think about what's going on with McLaren. Can you believe the reigning constructors champion with the #1 driver in the world, okay, with all of the money they have, and they can't even start their cars? Now, think about that for a minute. They can't even get their cars on the track because of an electrical failure. And what I've heard reported is they were not the same issue with the car. In other words, one car had one issue and another car had another issue. What we're seeing right now, and it's only been 2 races, Australia and China, with Japan coming up next. This is not competitive at all, because Mercedes is so much faster with Russell and Antonelli than the rest of the field. And it's almost making it like, why even watch it? You know, like, why even watch it?
And, you know, what's funny is, if you know, McLaren's actually one of the customers, and they do have a Mercedes engine in there. And, you know, Ferrari has a couple of customers that make their engines, and they Haas uses them. So, you know, what's going to happen is, I think this is going to turn a lot of fans off here in America. And I think IndyCar is going to be benefiting, because I'm already seeing the ratings, and IndyCar is already increasing from the second race. Over
well,
like
you also have to understand,
so.
but you can't really just go by the ratings because of when the F1 races are on here in America because of the odd times. I mean, you know, the race in China is on in the middle of the morning. I mean, you can't really just go by that. But I would just say this. I'm with you on that. I think the fact that they're not going to race next month in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia because of the war is going to actually be beneficial for F1, because they got to get their act together right now. They got to figure out their problems. And there's a lot of unhappy people in F1. A lot of unhappy drivers, a lot of unhappy teams with the new regulations this year and how the cars are set up. They're going to have to make some changes.
And another thing about the race, I don't know if you saw the two Cadillacs kind of collided in each other. That's the first rule. Do not take out your teammate. I couldn't believe that happened. Luckily, they didn't take each other all the way out. They just had a collision. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, Mercedes is just going crazy right now.
No question.
With the way it is.
Thank you, bud.
Have a good one, Grant.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Never thought I'd be like talking about F1 like I talk about the NFL and NBA. What's happened to me? What's happened to me? Wow. I don't know what's happened to me. I really don't. I've enjoyed watching the F1, and I got hooked because of the Drive to Survive series on Netflix. I had never watched the F1 before. Never.
So these guys can't get their cars started?
They could not. The number one team in F1, McLaren, who won the championship last year, both the team and the individual, could not get their cars out of the garage for the race in Shanghai yesterday.
Aren't there like teams of 500, 1,000 employees?
Yes.
And the number one thing
it's
is
like
get
an
the
ant.
car.
It's like an ant farm around the cars. Yes. Yep.
It's insane.
It is insane. And there were other cars that didn't. I think there were 4 cars that did not start on the grid yesterday. So, like, you had 18 cars instead of 22, which is unheard of. That's like unheard of.
Is it a rule change that's led?
Yeah, the cars are set up differently as it relates to engine, battery use. It's too complicated for me to explain to you, but there are a lot of changes this year, and the drivers are not happy with them. Not happy at all.
All right. Should be interesting when that's documented on the Netflix series.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Hey.
Yes, indeed.
You know, one thing we haven't brought up is the players. Did you get some of that this weekend?
Okay, so I obviously watched the players, and Young beating Fitzpatrick, who are very good friends. They really are. They're tight. They're on the same team in the what's that league called where they play on a simulator? They're on the same team. They rep for New York. I didn't expect that to happen. I mean, Young with just a phenomenal finish. Did you watch the finish of that tournament?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
How about Oberg falling apart?
Yeah, he had a 76 yesterday after dominating. And Ludwig Oberg, to me, has maybe the most beautiful swing on tour.
Yeah.
And I think it's only a matter of time for him. But he kind of, after 2 years ago, when he played so well at the Masters in his first time, and everyone thought he's going to be a guy that wins a major real soon, he's kind of taken a little bit of a step back. He's still very, very good. But that round yesterday in that tournament with the lead to shoot a 76, that was a bad job by Ludwig. Bad job.
Did you see the player that had to chip between the wood railing?
Yes.
On 17 in the
I'm
grass?
just glad he didn't fall in the water.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
That course is so much, and I guess it's every course, but when the wind's blowing on that course in particular.
Oh. The par 3 17th when the wind's blowing, I mean, it's, yeah. Because you have to hit a high shot. You know, it's 130 yards, so you have to put the ball in the air. It's not like you can hit a line drive because the ball's going to roll off the back of the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind, you have to play it. And if it's gusting and you hit the ball and right when the ball's in the air, the wind gusts, yeah, you're in trouble.
I think golf needs more stadium settings when it comes to some of their tournaments.
Why?
I just think it's more appealing. Look at how big of a hit the Waste Management Open is. Because
yeah, but is it a hit? And it is. But what about? Okay, understand where I'm coming from when I say this. I agree with you, but have we lost our way? Has it gotten carried away where 95% of the people in there, it's a drunk fest and they're throwing beer at each other? And acting like that. In other words, I get the fact that it may look good on TV, but I've read horror stories from the people that work there and from the fans, and many of them in a drunken stupor. Is that really what we want in golf?
Well, I have not personally seen. No, you don't want that in golf. I think it brings, for the viewer on TV, a little bit more electricity and excitement because golf can be so mellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
a lot of those stadium settings, those are, corporately booked out, right?
Yes,
You can't really
very, very
get
true. Not the 16th. That is at the 16th at the course you're referring to in Scottsdale. Is you see the people lining up at the wee hours of the morning, and when the gates open, they're sprinting
run.
to get yes.
Yes. But the people that I had a problem with this weekend, it seemed every single day there was one guy around the ropes after somebody is like literally finished their backswing that's yelling something out that's not golf related. And those are the people that are following the players. So it's not the people that are in the stands.
Here's the other issue that we're finding because of gambling. So if you have a player that you bet on or bet against, you can really alter a golf tournament by yelling right in the middle of their backswing. And so that's another aspect. Fortunately, that doesn't happen too often, but it has happened. And it's very unfortunate. It really is. It's very, very unfortunate. I enjoy watching golf. I enjoy watching the Players Championship. I would enjoy it a lot more if the Live Golf Tour did not exist and we had truly Bryson DeChambeau, and John Rahm and the other top golfers in the world playing in that. It would be even more enjoyable.
It doesn't feel like Live Golf exists. Seriously.
It does when you look at their bank accounts.
Well, yeah.
Tell that to those guys that have hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank because of the Live Golf tournament or tour.
But for as much money as they have, their footprint is so small. It's tiny.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Again, if you want to get in on the program, 916-779-0929. I've got Grant's Rant coming up for you in a little bit. I always like doing that, especially on a Monday to get the week going. Sean Salisbury tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a show tonight at 7 o'clock over on YouTube and X. So make sure that you join me 1 hour after I get done with this program. Olden Polonies on Wednesday. I've got some other guests lined up this week that we will talk about. And again, I guess there aren't a lot of people that enjoyed the WBC like I did last night because I'm looking at my text lines, both on the streaming on YouTube and on our studio text line at 916-779-0929. And I've gotten one text on it. I've got a lot of NFL, a lot of Kings, a lot of Doug Christie, a lot of other sports, but not last night's WBC, which is surprising to me because I thought it was one of the best baseball games. Forget about the World Series last year. We put that aside. I don't recall watching a better baseball game than I watched last night with everything that was involved in it. And the crowd, the emotion in that stadium, the way those two teams played, I was phenomenal. That was great sport. That's how I would say it. That was great sport last night. And I'm surprised that no one's really wanted to talk about it or even message me about it because I just thought it was outstanding. Said I was trying to say, was the Players Championship on CBS, then NBC with a different crew on Sunday? No, it's one network that does the Saturday and Sunday. And I think ESPN did it on Thursday and Friday.
No, it was Golf Network, I believe.
Oh, is the Golf Channel on Thursday and Friday?
Yes.
Okay, my bad. I don't know about stadiums for golf. I think things were rough enough with the crowds at the Ryder Cup. Yeah, the Ryder Cup was not good. That was not good. Not good at all. That's very true. Very true. Grant, what makes it difficult to be a head coach in New York, specifically the Jets? Well, the Jets, they got a terrible owner in Woody Johnson. You can start right there. That's the biggest problem. Bad ownership. Terrible ownership in Woody Johnson. Awful. Hey, Grant's Rant is coming up next, the third hour of the show. Remember, if you missed hour number one, it's on replay at 6 o'clock
each and every night. Again, Grant's Rant coming up next right here on Fox Sports Sacramento.
You've been saying you're going to pay better attention to your home's honeydews. Check one off your list right now by calling Gabrud Services to schedule a 12-point inspection of your home's electrical system. The safe rule of thumb is every 5 years for an inspection. If it's been 5 years or more, call Gabrud's now. A qualified technician will provide a thorough inspection of the electrical system to ensure it's safe or alert you to potential problems. At Gabrud's, electrical work is all we do. We are the area's recognized experts for anything electrical, and our number one priority is ensuring your home and family are safe. You've been saying you'll pay better attention to your home. Stop saying it. Make the call to Gabrud's. Talk with a real person and schedule your 12-point inspection today. Gabrud's, locally owned for more than 30 years. Gubrud's.
Call the good dudes at Gabrud's. Gubrud's. Gabrud's.com.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country, and your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. College sports are changing in real time, and the ripple effects of NIL are showing up differently across each sport. In football, NIL deals have helped spread talent more evenly across the country. In college basketball, however, the opposite may be true. The numbers tell the story. For the first time since 2008, all four number one seeds reached the NCAA Final Four last season. That kind of bracket chalk has always been rare, and it will likely remain that way. But the conditions that created it are becoming more common. Mid-major programs once built dangerous March teams by developing veterans over multiple seasons. Those experienced rosters were capable of knocking off blue bloods. Now, the moment a player breaks out, bigger programs come in and swoop him up with more money. The result is a landscape where talent consolidates at the top. There will be upsets, but the deeper Cinderella runs may be a thing of the past. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. These days, everybody's searching for ways to save on insurance, scrolling comparison sites, digging through tips, chasing deals, but Liberty Mutual makes it simple. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance to save you money. And when you bundle, those savings really come through. It's insurance built for real people with a team that goes above and beyond to help you keep more of what matters. No hunting, no hassle, just confidence that your coverage customized with savings in mind. Start your quote at libertymutual.com. 2 words, prostate exam. Relax. Screening starts with a simple finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or over and have a prostate, visit relaxitsabloodtest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and the next steps. Sponsored by Novartis.
Grant's back. Join the conversation every weekday afternoon beginning at 3 p.m. KSAC 890 AM Olivehurst, K284CM 104.7 FM Sacramento.
It's time for Grant.
All right, Rhino, let's do it. Let's get this week started off to a good note with Grant's Rant.
Grant, since it is the week of the March Madness, the NCAA tournament, a simple PSA rant that please be courteous. Do not be the person that says, oh, I was going to pick that team when you didn't pick that team. We don't need the 4-6-minute explanation on what made you not pick them. Should have picked them, guy. Don't do that this tournament. Second of all, the state of the NBA, Grant. I could go on forever, but last night, what happened during the Kings games, everybody on the floor was professionals, but that is not directly the Kings and the Pacers or the Kings and the Jazz's fault. That is a league-wide problem that is going to blow up in Adam Silver's face if he doesn't do something about it. And last but not least, Grant, these gimmicks that coaches give out at the end of games, they're going a little too far. Mike Brown last night after the Knicks came back from, I believe, down 20 against the Warriors at MSG, yep. He said at the podium that they did not give out a Defensive Player of the Game award in the locker room. So it made me think, well, what's Mike Brown giving out as the Defensive Player of the Game now? You get a yellow construction hat representing the work put in on defense, an orange safety vest that you wear over your clothes, and Timberland boots. You look like Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder. I'm going to start with your second item. The NBA should be ashamed of themselves. And I did a rant on this morning. I started off my show talking about this. Every fan in attendance at G1C last night should have been given a refund. They should have been given a refund or a voucher to attend another game in the future, or a rather large gift card for concessions. They should have been rewarded for showing up for basically was a glorified scrimmage. And it's a shame that in 2026, I and others have to point out what a professional DeMar DeRozan is, because the guy goes to work every night and picks up his paycheck. Now, you got to understand that the players that play don't give a damn about draft picks, and they don't care about draft order, and they don't care about the lottery. They don't care. They don't think about it. They don't talk about it. It is a non-issue. This is an organizational, and as Ryan just suggested, more of a league-wide issue, okay? What happened last night is unacceptable, and the league and Adam Silver needs to come down with an iron fist. It's wrong, okay? And Doug Christie can say everything that he wants about not tanking and that he plays to win every game. And I would agree with that. I think he does coach to win every game. But you can't say as an organization that you're playing to win every game and then not play key players because they're sore. That's right. They're sore. Like, so that doesn't work. You can't say, well, we're not tanking, and then you don't play Russell Westbrook because his foot is sore, or you don't play Malik Monk because his ankle is sore, or what have you. All right. And here's also another really bad look. You shouldn't have Russell Westbrook and Kevin Love yucking it up in the middle of a timeout in the second half, you know, buddy, smiling, laughing, and then have Will Hardy, the coach of the Utah Jazz, part of that as well. It's a bad look for the NBA. What are we doing here? Seriously, what are we freaking doing? And you got a gutless Adam Silver, and I'm going to call him gutless. The guy's got no backbone. I mean, all he does is make money for the owners, which is great. And he might be making another $15 to $20 billion for the owners if we get 2 expansion franchises with the reported $7 to $10 billion fee. The owners love that. You know why? The valuation keeps going up every year and more and more and more. But the reality is he doesn't police his league. He doesn't run his league. He's too afraid to do what's right. The quality of basketball has gone downhill. The quality of games has gone downhill. You got coaches like Steve Kerr that are saying you need a 72-game schedule and blah, blah, blah. No, you know what you need? You need some toughness, all right? Go watch the National Hockey League. That's what you need to do. You got to watch the NHL and watch how they go about their 82-game schedule, where they don't have load management. They don't have players not playing because they're sore, right? If you go to an NHL game, you're getting to see the best players. And you don't have to worry about guys that are resting and not in the lineup because that doesn't happen in the NHL. But in the NBA, it happens all the freaking time. And here's the other deal. It used to be where if you were in the final week of the season, it was acceptable. You kind of knew it. Final week of the season, you may not see the guys play because they're getting ready for the postseason or what have you. You accepted that. It's the middle of March. We've been talking about this since the middle of February. We were talking about this in January. This is so bad for the league. And Adam Silver and the league can't ignore this. They can't ignore what happened here in Sacramento last night. They just can't. The Jazz and the Kings should be ashamed of themselves. Absolutely ashamed of themselves. And they can say all they want about they're trying to win. Yes, the players that they put out on the floor, they are trying to win with those players that are in uniform. But why are they not playing the players that we saw on the sideline last night? Why wasn't Westbrook playing? Why wasn't Monk playing? You know why, and I know why. It's a disgrace. And the teams and the league should be ashamed of themselves. And if you were at the game last night, you should get your money back. Plain and simple. You should get your money back. This is called stealing. They stole your money last night. That's right. They stole your money. And by the way, congratulations and hats off to those of you that didn't show up. And we saw so many empty seats because your message to the Kings and to the NBA is that's unacceptable and you're not going to be part of it. So I commend you for staying away last night. Good job on your part. And if you did go to the game, you should have been given something in return. It's a shame. And that's my rant for today. Brutal.
Doug was asked last night. He was asked about the Kings in tanking, and then he was asked about the rest of the NBA in tanking. Here's what he had to say.
You know, everybody does something different. I mean, we had to process. We've had different things. So, you know, it's not for me to judge somebody else's house. I just know what we do here, and it ain't that. So, and it ain't never going to be that while I'm sitting here. When we go out there to play, we going out there to win. Now, if they beat you, they beat you. And I think last year was a shining example. The team that was supposed to get the number one pick did not. The team that got the number one pick, we played them in the play-in. So we, you know what I'm saying? So it's not that that's actually going to work. So in just my personal opinion, and this is not casting nothing on anybody else, I think that it hurts them. And I'm not here to hurt them. I'm here to build them up as young men and help them to help our city do what we know we can do.
Well, the question should be then how come Malik Monk and Russell Westbrook didn't play? If you're really trying to win, yes, the players that you did put on the floor last night, you're trying to win, but aren't you trying not to win by not having your best players on the floor because you're coming up with injuries for them? I mean, I'm sorry. You don't think Russell Westbrook and Malik Monk could have played last night? You don't think they should have played last night? You think if the game had any meaning at all, they would have been on the sideline? It's a joke.
But I think it's two separate things.
Okay.
And that is where Doug is walking that fine line because he's completely right in everything that he said right there.
Yes, he is.
He's not, and whether you want to think that he's in on these decisions or not, the head coach doesn't decide whether a player plays or not, or if they're able to play, I should say.
That's correct.
That's the medical staff. That's maybe if you are doing some shenanigans, the GM, right?
And agents,
etc. So he's right in everything that he's saying. DeMar DeRozan played a ton of minutes. DeMar, who played the night before in LA, got off the plane, came to the arena, got treatment. I watched him warm up last night. He came out a little bit later than normal, had a massive night. And it looks like he's having some fun out there too. But when Doug's talking about it hurts the young players, he's right. It does hurt the young players. if you are intentionally sitting them out. Now, when we talk about Malik Monk, talk about Westbrook, you're not really hurting anything. It's not going to hurt their games.
It's not going to hurt their games. Absolutely. They're probably happy as all heck that they don't have to play.
So I'm sure we're going to get people that saying, well, Doug probably has input on that. I have no idea if Doug has input on that. As the coach of the team, you coach the guys that are available.
Yes.
And so
I would agree with that.
by the letter of the law, they're doing it. Doug is doing things the right way. And I don't have a problem with that. Now, wouldn't you say it'd be different if, or let's say DeMar last night only played like 12 minutes? That's different to me.
Yeah, fair enough. Here's from the 916, was offered 4 tickets to last night's game, 9 rows from the floor, said no thank you. I think a lot of people said no thank you last night. Why would you want to go to the game? Were there other things going on last night? Yeah, I mean, it was a busy Sunday. Again, we talk about the World Baseball Classic. We talk about the Oscars, right? I mean, there were a lot of other things going on, but if it were a meaningful game and the Kings were playing for something, that place would have been full.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I always try to take a look around the building. I sent you a video right before tip-off.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And I was looking in the upper deck, very, very scattered. But there were people that were like sitting in the last row where their seats were at. I'm like, those are the hardcores of the hardcores, Napes.
Yeah.
They're following the rules. They're in their seats.
Love it. That's great stuff, isn't it?
That is pretty cool. Not going to lie.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. 916-779-0929. So here's the deal. The Kings have 3 more home games on this homestand.
Yeah.
San Antonio tomorrow, then Philadelphia, then Brooklyn. Are you going to the games? If you have tickets, you'd probably go tomorrow because you want to see Wembanyama play. Right, Ryan? If he's playing, wouldn't you want to go to see him play?
No doubt about it. Yes.
Fox is still very popular here in Sacramento. So I would think that more people would show up tomorrow than not. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with you.
I would say the Philadelphia and Brooklyn games, not so much. I would think next Sunday, the Brooklyn game, the place will be more than half empty.
I think you will see a decent turnout because I think Philly fan will come to the game when Philly's in town. They only come once a year.
Okay. What about Brooklyn?
No, I don't see it. Unless Jordy Fernandez has like 3,000 friends and family coming. It's going to be pretty empty. And it's a 3:00 start, too.
That's
one of
right.
those weird ones.
Yeah, that's right. And if the Kings beat Brooklyn twice, oh, my gosh. They play them twice. Play them twice here at the end of the season.
Look, we've said it so much on this show, on If You Don't Like That. If you would have been playing the younger guys more minutes in the right combinations with the vets, this team would have been 5-10 wins better. And it would have been a much better product all season long. If Russ was playing 20 minutes, it would have not been where it's at now. And that's what the worry is, because you're playing through DeMar. In fact, it's almost like you're seeing a different DeMar DeRozan. I actually got to ask Doug Christie about it last night. Here was my question to Doug about DeMar.
Coach, you always talk about the ball having energy, and in games similar to this, DeMar has been a little bit of a hub, and the ball's humming and moving. Can you just speak to how great he's been in that role and how important it is for the young guys?
Yeah, man, I just, I run out of adjectives for DeMar, and he just continues to do things. I think kind of what you're speaking to also, I spoke the other day, and he's like the calming factor a bit for those guys. So sometimes take him out early to bring him in with the second unit so that he can calm that second unit down. We want to play, we want to go. But then if it gets a little weird, okay, make sure that we move the ball from side to side, get him the basketball. Now we get proper spacing and play through DeMar and let him make the right play. Last night, they tried to double team him. He kicked the ball out. Guys made shots. They were cutting. And previously, we ran into where he'd get it and everyone stop and look. And listen, I like to look at him too. He's, a Hall of Famer, but we want guys cutting and moving and all those things. And he's just been a savior from that regard, that there's somebody that you can play through that can make really good decisions, but also can score the basketball at a high rate.
He's a special player. There's just no other way to say it. He's a special player. He's had a special career. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And you've said this repeatedly on our post-game shows, and I think you're spot on. There are going to be teams just kicking themselves right now. They didn't do more to acquire him at the trade deadline.
100%. He is the exact type of guy that you need to settle things down off of the bench when you're stalling in the half court in the playoffs. For the value,
he's really unguardable one-on-one. He's unguardable.
He is. And you saw last night he had 11 assists. Passing is something that he can do very, very well. And a lot of the problem earlier in the season when he got in those positions was guys aren't moving. And now you've got the young guys that have to move because they're not going to be getting buckets and creating their own space. As for tonight, San Antonio is playing in LA.
Yes.
And Dylan Harper is out of that one.
Okay.
Most notably, it will be interesting because it is the second night of a back-to-back. If we see Wembanyama or we see the Spurs sit anybody out. As for the Kings, tomorrow, Drew Eubanks is already listed as out. Devin Carter is out. And Malik is questionable.
Well, as far as a back-to-back, it wasn't too long ago. The teams used to play 4 games in 5 nights, and players played all 4. And now, all of a sudden, it's a back-to-back, and you can't play. That's the biggest difference in the league.
Well, it's also the Kings, right? You're coming in. Luke Cornett's out tonight as well for San Antonio.
Yeah, I want to get to a couple of messages on our YouTube page about Russell Westbrook, saying that he's a selfish cancer, and that if someone shows you who they are, believe them. The Kings should have known there's a reason Westbrook is on a 17, blah, blah, blah. You don't know anything about Russell Westbrook.
No.
And when you write things like that, you're writing things that you're uneducated on, that you're guessing, and you're so far from the truth that I'm actually ashamed in a way that I had to even read this, but I'm doing it to let you know that you are delusional and that your take on Russ, and I've been very critical of him being on the Kings this year, but it hasn't been anything to do with him being a cancer or not being a good teammate, as you say, a terrible teammate. That couldn't be further from the truth. He's widely respected in the locker room and around the NBA. And for you to make those comments just shows you how out of touch with reality that you really are. I don't know what else to say.
If you want to blame anybody when it comes to how Russ has been handled this year, you have to blame the coaching staff and you have to blame the front office.
Yes.
When Russell Westbrook signs his name to a contract, you know you are getting the Russell Westbrook experience on the court.
Yep.
And it just so happened that other teams realized they knew that if you give him certain things, he's going to go. And that's why his 3-pointers are through the roof this year, attempts. The amount of times that he shot the ball per game, that's been all game plan from other teams.
That's right.
Giving him
he
those
hasn't
looks.
even been. That's exactly right. You're 100% correct.
And Russ is going to take them. So
Yeah,
that
of course
is where
he is.
it's on the coach to rein
They had
it in.
the Kings haven't coached Russell Westbrook 1 second of one game the entire season. It's been a joke. It's been a joke. But for you to assume or like make a comment that the guy's a cancer, that is just absurd. It's stupid. This from our text line: Grant's a lover, not a hater, period. You know what I am? I'm a person that speaks the truth. So it's not about love or hate. It's about how I look at things, how I see things, and which is the same thing, by the way, look and see. And my opinions. It's not about love or hate. It's about what's the truth and what the reality of a situation is. And I tell you, that's the way I've always been, and it's the way I'll always be. We'll be back. More right here with your phone calls, your text messages at 916-779-0929. Grant Napear
Fox Sports Sacramento.
Homeowners, for any electrical project you need done, trust the good dudes at Gabroods. Locally owned, 5-star service experts, always transparent prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Call Gabroods or visit Gabroods.com. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. That's 800-598-0539.
Downtown Ford Sacramento welcomes you. With literally acres of new and Ford certified pre-owned vehicles on site, you can start planning a road trip up into the snow now because Downtown Ford has the vehicles to get you there. And our top-notch service team will keep it running perfectly as long as you own it. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and fleet vehicles. Downtown Ford Sacramento. Open daily on Howe Avenue next to the How About Arden Shopping Center.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now, with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer.
800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. 800-690-8445. That's 800-690-8445.
I love the exercise classes at the senior center, and I love eating healthy, but it can be expensive. Benefitscheckup.org connect.
Brady with Fox, working with Kevin Burkhardt, Troy Aikman on a huge platform like Monday Night Football on ESPN with Joe Buck. Should we as football fans care that Brady's involvement as part owner with the Raiders? And I had JT Brick on last week, who's very well connected with the Raiders, and talked about how he and the general manager are pretty much running the team. And that Troy Aikman, we know, has an involvement with the Miami Dolphins. And he consulted on both the Miami Dolphins general manager and head coaching searches this offseason. He has publicly said he plans on working with the organization moving forward. Do you have a problem with that? Let me know at 916-779-0929. I'm just curious. Should we have a problem with that? Should we expect that our announcers, and in this case, analysts, not be involved with a team? Do you think that changes how they go about their job? Do you think it changes what they might say on the air. Should it be that Brady is not allowed to do any game that involves the Raiders? Should it be that Troy Aikman now should not do a Monday night game that might feature the Miami Dolphins? Like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel that we make this into a mountain out of a molehill? Do you think that it's much to do about nothing? Or do you think it affects their credibility and their ability to do their job with 100% impartiality? Like, what do you think about that? And the reason why I'm bringing it up is there was a story in Awful Announcing about Troy Aikman, and he did a podcast. It's called Rodeo Time, and said that, yes, he does enjoy doing this and that he plans to keep doing it, and that he's always been intrigued by working in an NFL front office. And I'm just wondering if you feel this is going to be an issue moving forward, that more announcers, big names, are going to be working with teams. I'm not really bothered by it. I don't really care, because when I watch a game, I'm really not watching the game because of who's announcing the game. I'm watching the game because I'm going to watch the game regardless of who's announcing it. And the fact that maybe the Raiders are on a national game that Tom Brady's doing, that I feel that he's going to be making comments that are slanted towards the Raiders. I mean, I guess that's possible. Should it just be that he can't do any games that involve the Raiders? I mean, how could you do that on Monday Night Football? I mean, the Dolphins are on Monday Night Football. Every team's on Monday Night Football, right? For the most part. What are you going to do? You're going to tell him he can't do the game? So are you bothered by this? I'm just curious. 916-779-0929. Should we just say that, you know what, you have to do one or the other? If you want to be a lead analyst or a big-time analyst and you're getting paid millions of dollars, you can't be affiliated with a team. You can't be making decisions. Does it really matter? Does it affect their job as a football announcer? From the 916, not bothered. Not bothered. This one, Grant, I think the average fan doesn't care. I think media members make a bigger deal out of this than need be. Said, I have a problem with that only if he's getting insider information or insight that other teams can't. Interesting. Ryan, do you have a problem with it at all?
I don't, but I want to ask you, because I don't think the problem is them being on air and having the job. I think what that last texter said, the inside information, you've been a part of production meetings. You actually have done this. You were employed by the Kings and on the radio,
right,
talking about the Kings. So what's that like behind the scenes?
Well, I'll answer it this way. It's a little bit different than Troy Aikman and Tom Brady, because they're not behind the scenes every single day with their teams. I knew everything that was going on with the Kings 100%, not 95, not 98, not 99, not 100. Okay? Everything. And I used to laugh and I used to get upset when erroneous reports would come out from other members of the media and the fans. I'll add on to what I just said about the fans. It was amazing to me how often the fans had no idea what they were talking about when it came to a particular situation with the team that they love. They thought that they knew everything that was going on. They thought they knew everything that was going on with an individual player, and they had absolutely no idea. And in many instances, we're so far off board that, like, I didn't even know how to respond to it sometimes on my radio show. So when you are with the team, you know everything that's going on. You know, you're traveling with them, you're living with them, you have very good relationships with the head coach and the general manager. I mean, that's just the way it is. I also use common sense. There are things that are off limits to me when I do my job on the radio. if I saw an incident on the airplane or an incident where I only saw it because of my accessibility, because of my job, I didn't talk about it on the air. If I saw an incident in public, that was open game. If I saw an incident in the locker room where I was only in there because of my job, that stayed with me and I didn't discuss it unless it became public. I never crossed that line, not once in 32 years when I was doing the Kings and when I was doing the radio show previously. I never crossed that line. It's called credibility, and it's called, like, you need to be aware of what is morally acceptable or ethical. Morally is not what is ethical and what's unethical. And to me, it would be completely unethical. I would have also had a very short career if I was talking about, let's say, a fight that went on in the back room of the locker room or on an airplane. I'm just making this up, by the way. I never saw a fight on the airplane. But like if I saw it and then talked about it on the air, I probably wouldn't be employed for very long. So it's really common sense. I had a very simple rule. If I witnessed something that I only was able to witness because of my job with the team, meaning that had I not been working for the team, I wouldn't have been in that situation to see it. I never talked about it on the air. But I knew about it, but I didn't talk about it. Big difference. Big difference. And I would tell you that during the DeMarcus Cousins years, and even to this day, the amount of people that are so wrong on him is mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to me that there are still people that feel that he wasn't the problem and that the organization was the problem. It's mind-boggling to me that people are so stupid, and I'm going to use the word stupid, that they're not able to put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4 when it comes to his career is once again mind-boggling to me. It is mind-boggling to me how there are morons that actually felt that he should have his jersey retired in Sacramento. You got to be so uninformed, so uneducated, so out of touch with reality to even have that sentence come out of your mouth. And that is something that I never quite understood because I always knew everything that was going on 100%. And the fans were not all the fans. There were so many employees of the Kings, and there were people in the media that saw him bully the media on a regular basis, saw it, refused to talk about it, refused to accept it, who continued to put him on a pedestal. It was embarrassing. It was one of the most absurd, embarrassing, awful periods of time that I've ever witnessed in the history of the Sacramento Kings. And I see him now on social media excerpts going on these shows and talking as if he was never the problem, that it was always someone else's problem, and never took ownership to the fact that he had a wasted career and could never stay with one team for very long because nobody wanted him. I never, ever have him answer those questions. And it's so obvious to me, and it's something that I've never quite understood, how fans could be that misinformed and that out in left field about an individual. And even today, in 2026, I got people that want to defend him, and it wasn't his fault. You got to be like living on Mars to be of that sentiment. You got to be so far out of reality that I don't even know how you could possibly come up with that summation. So to answer your question, Ryan, you have to walk a fine line. You have a thing called credibility. You have a ethical responsibility to do your job professionally. And I always tried to do that. And were there times when maybe I said something that I shouldn't have said? Yeah, but it wasn't because I was saying something that was private and was not meant to be for the public. It was just because I had a different opinion on an individual than a lot of other people in the organization, and I would talk about it. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It's an excellent response. So I guess the follow-up question would be, this is a second job. I don't want to say second job, but, Aikman, football player first, right? Brady, football player first. Now you're analysts. They didn't go to school for broadcasting. They're not journalists per se. Do you worry that line is not as straight for them as it was for you?
It's a great question. I don't really know how to answer that. I would say that the advent of advanced social media continues to change everything in the cycle of life. There are different cycles in life based on what is in the palm of your hands, right? What you have at your disposal.
Yeah.
And over this century, we can just talk about that, or even you'd have to go past the turn of the century. We didn't have camera phones, right? We didn't have social media. I know when the Kings had their best years in the early 2000s, it wasn't social media. It wasn't like where the guys couldn't go out because people were trying to trap them into doing something where they would have to pay money. Like, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like, you were caught on camera going to a strip bar or whatever. You know, I'm just saying. That didn't even exist for that team. Then things started to change with the advent of social media. And I think social media, and you talk about AI and everything else, has completely changed the boundaries of media and what they feel is okay, what they justify as okay, and what they don't. It's almost like now every single thing is open game, right? If you're a public figure, forget about an athlete. You can be a broadcaster, you can be a actor, an actress, whatever. If you're a public figure, it's almost like every single aspect of your life is fair game. Look at Luka Doncic. Like all I've been reading over the last week or two is his split from his girlfriend and the child custody battles and everything. Why do we feel that we are entitled to that information? Like why are we entitled to know about the custody of Luka Doncic's children? Like why do you feel, or why should I feel that it's any of my business? It's not. And quite frankly, I don't care. I would hope that for the sake of the children, they can be adults and work it out. But I'm not privy. Why should I be entitled to know what's going on in the private life of Luka Doncic just because he's an NBA player? I'm not entitled to that.
And you're right, but it starts then with the well-known newspapers, the websites. I can't go on New York Post sports section without seeing 2 or 3 stories a day about a player's girlfriend, about,
of course,
an Olympian that's a model. You know,
look at Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Look at Taylor Swift. Right? If they step outside of their housing, there are photos. They go on vacation and there's someone with a telephoto lens from 2 miles away taking pictures of them on the beach and on the boat. Right? Like, I mean, we live in a messed up world. We just do. Our society is so infatuated with the lives of the celebrities. It's absurd. It's ridiculous.
But doesn't it have to start with like some of the leaders in the field of journalism where they're stopping that trend too? You're not going to stop what social media does. Doesn't it have to start with some of the broadcasts where you're not cutting to girlfriends, especially of college players that are going to be playing in March Madness?
Here's the problem in a nutshell. The only thing that matters in society is money, and everything revolves around the almighty dollar. Even if you know that you're doing the wrong thing to acquire the money, it's all about the dollar. The networks do it. The professional sports leagues do it. The college sports do it. I mean, good Lord, you telling me that you're going to have UCLA and USC and the other schools on the West Coast playing games all the way on the other side of the country? Really? I mean, would you really think about that for a minute? College, universities, student athletes. Like, it's so absurd. It's so ridiculous that we now have our college athletes that are playing on 6 different college teams over a 6-year career, which I never thought could happen, but because of COVID, it changed. But so you're seeing basketball players. All right, I'm very close with Peja Stojakovic. His son is playing for Illinois. He's in the NCAA tournament. This is his third team already in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He went to Stanford, then he went to Cal, and now he's at Illinois. Where's he going to be next year? Is he going to be at North Carolina? Is he going to be at Duke? Is he going to be in the NBA? My point is, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Now, all of a sudden, we're going to take a 20-year-old kid and offer him $10 million to leave that school and come play for us? There's no ethics anymore. There's no, like, right or wrong anymore. It's about how much money can I make? That's the biggest problem, is how much money can I make? And that's where we're at right now. You know, that's where we're at.
Spot on.
And as I make the transition, you do want to make money when you sell your house, right? You want to have a nice profit. You want to make sure that you have someone that is experienced. You want to make sure that somebody's working with you that has been in the business for a long time. Spencer Grimmenstein with Village Financial Group is that guy. Family-owned business that he began in 2000. I've known him since then. I can vouch for Spence. He's going to do a phenomenal job for you, whether it's buying a home, selling a home, or using the equity in your home with a home equity line of credit. Call or text Spence at 916-805-4868. That's 916-805-4868. You can also go online to vfgloans.com. You can check out everything that they offer, plus thousands of listings available for purchase. It makes sense to call Spence at 916-805-4868. Village Financial Group, looking out for your best interest. We'll come back. Final segment on this Monday edition of the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento.
We are Fox Sports. Call the good dudes at Gabrudes. G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Homeowners, if you have an electrical project you need done, then you need the good dudes at Gabrudes. Family owned and operated for 30 years, Jay Gabrude and his team are the area's recognized experts for everything electrical, from the very basic like repairs, lighting upgrades, and whole house fans, to the biggies, panel replacements, EV stations, and backup generators. Gabrude's does it all and does it right the first time. They're actually the guys their competition recommends. Gabrude's, expert, 5-star service, and always transparent, honest prices and solutions. Say goodbye to your electrical issues. Visit Gabrudes.com or call 24/7 and speak with a real live person. Gabrudes, G-U-B-R-U-D-S.
Call the good dudes at Gabrudes. G-U-B-R-U-D-S. Gabrudes.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. 800-941-4184. That's 800-941-4184.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-598-0539. 800-598-0539. 800-598-0539.
from ESPN and others talk about the expansion fee would be as much as $10 billion with a B dollars. Why would the NBA owners not want to expand? I would think you'd want to expand by more than 2 teams. Are you kidding me? Like, we talk about money, right? You think the owners care about whether the product would be diluted or not? They don't care. You think they care right now? I mean, look at what owners across the league are doing. You think the owners in Sacramento care, or Utah, or Washington, or Brooklyn? I mean, it's a joke what's going on right now. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And you know what they want? They want that pie. That's right. Give me a $15 to $18 million or billion dollar split 30 ways. Could you imagine a $10 billion expansion fee? Hello, split among all of the owners, Ryan? Why would an owner vote no? Why would the board of governors say, nah, I don't think expansion's good? Are you kidding me?
No, they're definitely going to be fine with it. I think this is 100% smoke and mirrors by Adam Silver. Let's ignore the problems of the league and give everybody what they want, which is a team in Seattle and a team in Vegas.
Now, also understand that once you add those 2 teams, then the owners also split the TV revenue 32 ways, not 30. So, I mean, there is a little bit of an offset there. It would not surprise me what you just said as this being a smokescreen. It would not surprise me.
There's so many issues right now that need to be addressed first. So he has moved this timeline up so much. As recently as the NBA Finals last season when he was doing his press conference, not even on the table right now. We're focused on NBA Europe. We've got to figure this out. We'll eventually get to it. Oh, we might have a vote at the last press conference at the next meeting, and now we're here.
Okay, I disagree with you on one thing. I think Seattle will be a wildly successful franchise. They will support it because they always have. I think Las Vegas is going to be on thin ice, and I don't care who the owners are. I could see that not working as well as everybody else.
Interesting. I think Vegas is going to be a hit.
I think it will be a hit initially, and I think if the team falters, I think you'll see the building half empty. That's what I think.
Are we going to have a player that's in the league, possibly with an ownership stake in another team?
Not if they're currently playing, no. That would be not acceptable.
Yeah. LeBron.
You're talking about LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. He just has such a wildly loyal following that if he's in ownership in Vegas, I think that team's always going to do okay.
See, I disagree with you. I think his following has diminished lately, and I think there are a lot of people that have been turned off by him, and I don't think his following is as great as it was. I think it used to be much better 5 years ago. I don't perceive that to be the case anymore.
But the amount, the people that do follow him, they live and die by him. You know who's got a very similar fan base? Russell Westbrook. I've had the Westbrooks come at me a couple times on X during the season. And
what do you mean come at you?
Oh, they come from everywhere. The Westbrook fans, the hardcore ones, holy moly. I mean, hardcores of hardcores ride and die with Russ. Their their names, their handles all have something to do with Russ. And there's tons and tons of them. You can't fight them all off. It's the same kind of thing with LeBron. I guess here's my other question that's separate from whether they're going to be successful or not. What do you think opening night for a new franchise in Vegas, in Seattle, their evaluation would be?
Their evaluation?
Yes. So if you're paying up to 10,
depends whether the building's included or not. That would, but in this case, I don't think that would be either in Seattle. I don't really know what it would be on opening night. It's going to be a huge hit for a period of time. I think Seattle will always be sustained because the fans up there will. The history tells me that. I'm skeptical about Vegas. I really am. I'm skeptical.
I'm more skeptical about, or I'm more. The A's are a little bit more curious to me in Vegas than a basketball
Yeah.
team would be.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yes, I would agree with that. But baseball's not nearly as popular as the NBA. That's part of it as well.
It's a long season. It's a really
It's a long
season.
but the revenue, the TV ratings, I mean, they're not. It's not the NBA anymore. In other words, baseball used to be the king in this country with the NFL. Now baseball is really taking a big hit. I wonder if the World Baseball Classic's going to give any momentum to Major League Baseball with the way these games have been played. Be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
Maybe short-lived.
Yeah, good point.
Again, I'm very surprised that I don't have more people on the text line today because we're getting a lot of messages, but it's not about the World Baseball Classic and the game last night. And quite frankly, I'm surprised by that because I just thought it was just a phenomenal spectacle. Forget about baseball. I mean, it was a great baseball game, but it was a phenomenal spectacle. I mean, that atmosphere in Miami was unbelievable. It was incredible.
Have you seen that fan that travels around to like every World Series?
Yeah, Marlin Man.
Marlins man.
Yeah, I've known him. I've hung out with him before.
Have you really? I
Oh,
hear
yeah.
he's an attorney, I guess, or was an
Yeah,
attorney.
he's a great guy. He's was with he was a big NBA fan and was at Kings games on the road every now and then. And I've hung out with him before. Yeah, very
All right.
interesting. Yeah,
Good to know. He was in the building
Marlin
last
Man.
night.
He was there last night, sitting
Marlins
behind
man.
home plate.
Yep.
He's everywhere. He's like Jerry Goldstein, right?
Jimmy.
He's like at an
Yeah.
NBA game every night.
I would love to talk to. I would go to a game in LA just to talk to Jimmy.
Or Jimmy. I said Jerry. I'm sorry. Jimmy Goldstein. Jimmy's great. I used to talk to Jimmy every single time I was in LA. Jerry used to talk with Jimmy every single time. Great guy. And he would come up and start talking to you, even if you didn't want to. So he'd walk right up to you and start talking to you about your team and the NBA. Great guy.
I'd love
Yeah.
to get Jimmy's take on the. You just made me call him Jimmy. Or no, he is Jimmy, not Jerry. I'd
Yeah.
love to get his take on the NBA right now. He knows basketball.
He's gone. I would think he's not crazy about it.
Would you ever rock one of his outfits?
If I could sell it after I rocked it, yes, because they're worth thousands of dollars. So yes,
His place in LA is just insane. I don't know if
his life is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the company that he keeps is rather interesting as well.
Not bad company.
No, he's doing all right in life. You know, he's
and
doing all right.
they like coming over to Club Goldstein. He's always
They
posting
sure do.
on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, he's had a full life. Can we say that?
Yes, absolutely.
You know who I used to love when I used to go do LA games? I used to sit like 1, 2, 3 seats away from Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah.
And so when the Kings and the Lakers were in the rivalry in the early 2000s, Jack would always have on these glasses that were shaded. And if there was a bad call or an amazing play, Jack would be like this. So he'd go like, and he'd give me that look, like just like that. Like he'd be white, and I'd look over at him, he'd go.
That's awesome.
And I used to just laugh and smile. I talked to him just a few times because I mean, he's just one. He's a living legend, right?
Yeah.
And he was great, but he was. Whenever there was a bad call or a great play, he would always do that with his glasses, and I would just laugh. Yeah, that was great. And then I told you the one time I was sitting next to announcing Game 3 of the 2002 Western Conference Finals on radio by myself, and the radio used to be on the other side of the scores table, so I'm literally closer to the Lakers bench than the Kings bench, but I'm right up against. So Heather Locklear is sitting right next to me, literally right next to me, with her husband at the time, Richie Sambora, right? And so I'm announcing the game, and then finally in the second half, I was taking my headset off, and I take a sip of water, and she goes, "Can I tell you something?" She goes, "You are really, really good at what you do." And I said, "You're really, really good at what you do too. Thank you." Yeah, she was.
Were you expecting her to say really, really good looking? That would have made your day.
On that note, I'll say so long. Don't forget YouTube and X in an hour. My thanks to Rhino and Sacktown and all of you for your support. Tomorrow we'll do it again at 3 o'clock. Thanks so much for listening to the Grant Napear Show on Fox Sports Sacramento. Bye-bye now.